Good evening and welcome to the Centrium in Red Deer, Alberta for tonight's Oiler Flame Rookie Collision. I'm Jack Michaels along with Bob Stauffer, and I suppose a welcome is in order for the entire 2019-20 season right here on EdmontonOilers.com and Oilers TV. Bob and I are the play-by-play voices of the Edmonton Oilers. We'll be back on 6:30 CHED, flagship home of the Oilers radio network, for the rematch Tuesday at the Saddle Dome at 7 o'clock. But first, a look at tonight's game, Bob, because each season it's an opportunity for the Oiler rookies to make a first impression. And as you know, you never get a second chance to make one.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you also combine the fact that the Oilers now have a new general manager in Ken Holland, a new head coach in Dave Tippett, new pro scout in terms of Archie Henderson, amateur scout in terms of Tyler Wright.
Fresh eyes all over the place.
Right, and we saw last year at this game, specifically the one that was in Red Deer, the performance of Dylan Dubé for Calgary and Ryan McLeod for Edmonton. And those guys really got off to a good start early in training camp as a result of this. We've got several players from an Oilers perspective that are playing tonight, Jack, that they have a chance to make the team. Tyler Benson's got a chance to make the Edmonton Oilers Hockey Club. Maybe a little bit longer shot for Evan Bouchard. The Oilers probably with three of their top six defensemen, including their two power play quarterbacks, likely slated to go to the American Hockey League. Calgary with a little bit more experience and skill up front with their forward units.
Well, they've got 8 drafted players up front, none on the back end. And, a one-year ELC for tonight's Calgary goaltender. Edmonton has 3 goalies, all drafted, 2 of whom you'll see tonight, one of whom, Dylan Wells, will be the starter. Bob, you mentioned Evan Bouchard, perhaps a greater long shot in your estimation to make the hockey club. Now, some would say, well, what about the buyout of Andrei Sekera over the offseason? Doesn't that open a spot, not just on the team, but potentially in the top 6?
Well, Jack, I'll add that Dave Tippett coming in to be a head coach, and we've done lots of events with Dave over the last couple of months, and he keeps talking about lefty-righty combinations, and Jim Playfair has mentioned as well, we could potentially see Darnell Nurse and Adam Larson, Oscar Klefbom a left shot. Does that mean we're automatically going to get a right shot? Because it sounds like the Oilers plan on playing Chris Russell as a left shot this year. So for a player tonight like an Evan Bouchard, no disrespect to maybe Logan Day, who's a little bit longer of a shot, Evan Bouchard's got a terrific opportunity to get his nose out in front of, say, Joel Persson. And, so there's an example of what tonight can be. And then, certainly on the defense, the Oilers, this is an area that they're in a different spot now. And for all the criticism that was directed Peter Chiarelli's way, drafting Ethan Bear in 2015, drafting Caleb Jones, well, those guys now are pushing. Now, the Oilers having Bouchard and Broberg in the last 2 years, and the emergence of Dmitry Samorukov, who we are going to see tonight. It's an exciting time for Oilers fans because they finally have some legitimate defense prospects coming, and of course some support prospects as well.
Samorukov, a third-round pick a couple years ago, put up huge numbers, Bouchard-like numbers, quite frankly, in the Ontario Hockey League last year for Guelph. A quick word on Cooper Marody. That's one guy we haven't mentioned to this point. He can play a little center, little winger. Now, I know the Oilers just signed Riley Sheahan, but where does Marody fit into the mix? Is he a guy who could be on the opening day roster?
He could be, because we're not sure what Gaetan Haas is going to give the Oilers. I was surprised when I saw Haas skate with the pros, sort of in those captain skates, Jack. It's a little bit bigger than I thought. He can really shoot the puck. But Marody had a great offensive campaign. And the question is he an AHL, NHL tweener? Or is he a guy that has worked on his body composition and his quickness and can take the next step? Benson and Marody had terrific years last year in the AHL. They're looking to build on that right from the get-go tonight.
Marody, an American Hockey League All-Star. Tyler Benson, all-rookie team, and a second-team All-Star in his own right. And most importantly for Benson, he played all 68 games. He was the only Condor to do it.
Yeah, 2 straight great off-season training as well for him, Jack, and he's really worked on his quickness and speed.
For more storylines surrounding tonight's game, Edmonton-Calgary, the rookies, the first of 2, let's head to Tony Brar with this edition of Oilers Today.
This season's first Battle of Alberta is set for tonight as the Edmonton Oilers rookies will take on the Calgary Flames first-year hopefuls down at the Westerner Park Centrium in Red Deer, Alberta. Now, over the last couple of days in rookie camp, Kyler Yamamoto, Tyler Benson, and Cooper Marody have all skated together. However, Yamamoto is not cleared for game action just yet, so it will be Cameron Hebig assuming his spot on the team's top line.
It's a great opportunity to play with two great players in Cooper and Tyler, and I look forward to that and hope to make the most of that. And obviously they're such skilled players and see the ice so well, so just try to get open and do what I do best, and hopefully we have a good game.
For us, being able to put Hebes into that hole with Benson and Marody, they had chemistry early in the year last year. We're looking for them to give us a little bit of leadership heading into this game tonight and help settle some of the nerves for some of the first year players.
Ryan McLeod will be anchoring tonight's second line that will also feature Kirill Maximov and Nolan Vesey. For McLeod, it's an opportunity to play with someone he usually competes against in Maximov.
Obviously he's a really good player. He could score, he could set up plays, so it's going to be a lot of fun playing with him tonight. It's going to be really cool, so I hope it's packed and the crowd's really into it, and it should be fun. I'm not really sure who the fans are going to be cheering for, but it should be a fun game. Obviously it sets the tone for the year, and you get your name out there for camp, so I'm really looking forward to it.
McLeod, he flies through the middle of the rink, and then you have Maximov, who can get the puck to Maximov, and he's a good passer. Maximov shoots the puck hard and is also a good skater, and we wanted to match them up with a worker bee that left a good impression on us last year in Bakersfield and Nolan Vesey.
Tonight's goaltender rotation will see 21-year-old Dylan Wells get the nod to start the game. Stuart Skinner is slated to take over the crease halfway through tonight's action.
I think this is what you prepare for. Every day in the gym, every time you're skating, you're just looking forward to playing games again. So getting out there tonight will be a lot of fun. Just going to treat it like any other game and just enjoy myself in there and just get back into game feel. So it's an exciting time.
And you can catch tonight's action right here on Oilers TV and EdmontonOilers.com. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. From Rogers Place, Tony Brar, Oilers TV.
As we take care of some house cleaning down at center ice here at the Centrium in Red Deer, Alberta. Among those, the Oilers' new CEO and head of business operations, Tom Anselmi. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer, welcoming you back inside the Centrium for tonight's matchup, the Edmonton Oiler and Calgary Flame rookies. For Edmonton to start, Dylan Wells in net, fifth-round pick in 2016, 6-6, 909 save percentage, up with Bakersfield last year. The opening line centered by a stalwart on that Condor team, and that's Cooper Marody, flanked by Tyler Benson and Cameron Hebig, who will be playing tonight as Kyler Yamamoto has not been cleared for game action as of yet. Evan Bouchard and Dmitry Samorukov will be on the blue line. And over on the Calgary side, it's Dubé, Phillips, and Gaudin. Now we go ringside. Finishing up that Calgary starting lineup, Corey Schoeneman and Andrew Nielsen will be on the back end. And this is, again, a situation where for Calgary, they don't have any contracted players on their back end, or at least no one they've drafted. They did sign Artem Zagadulin, a guy who put up big numbers last year in the KHL, 1.96 goals against. He's a 24-year-old rookie who signed a one-year entry-level contract on March the 30th with the Calgary Flames. But it's definitely a different feel, particularly on the back end, when you look at the two rosters, Bob.
Oh, yeah, the Oilers have got some big-time prospects. Samorukov and Bouchard, hopefully top four guys. Calgary, in fairness to their organization, they've sort of moved some of those guys through to a big club. Valimaki's injured. maybe he might have been in this game. And obviously in the past, Jack, we've seen Shillington, Rasmus Anderson, right? Guys like that. So they've already made that jump to the NHL.
Oilers obviously in the white, Calgary in the red. As we get set, we'll have one timeout at the midway point of each period. And here we go. Last year in the rookie games, Calgary prevailed by scores of 7-3 and 6-3. Zavgarodny and Gaudin scored twice in those victories as the Flames pour into the offensive zone, and it's Dubé. Played 25 NHL games, freeing it up for Matthew Phillips in the corner. Had his stick lifted and the puck expertly cleared by Marody back through center. Marody got some NHL games last year coming up under Ken Hitchcock, and the Flames will fling it back behind goaltender Dylan Wells. Again, one of 3 draft picks the Oilers have in net for this rookie camp. Here's Evan Bouchard. Scored his first NHL goal, and then Bobby excelled in the playoffs for Bakersfield.
Had a big-time performance, better than a point per game.
Worked around the boards. Adam Ruzicka, offensive zone for Calgary, bottled up by Ryan McLeod, who really shone in the rookie games and part of the preseason last year, but did not have the regular season he was hoping for. Forced into the offensive zone by Edmonton, recovered by Alexander Yellison. And up the left-hand side, the Flames are able to knock it to center, and it's flipped toward Wells. He'll knock it down and leave it for Ethan Kapp. Alternate captain for the Oil Kings a year ago. Advances the puck ahead to Raphael Lavoie. Here's Kapp with a drive that doesn't reach the net. Zagadulin gives it a work, and it's played by Lavoie around the boards, and a shot comes in and deflected right into the leather by Lavoie. I think he got his stick on it, and that was snared by Zagadulin, but that's good work by Edmonton, funneling the puck on net. Jacobellis doing the honors.
Well, Martin Pospisil got in on the forecheck for Calgary. He's got over 370 penalty minutes in the USHL last couple of years, and he got a hefty piece of Logan Day that had the fans oohing and awing.
Pospisil, one of 3 players on the Calgary roster that have played in the World Juniors for Slovakia. Jacobellis, who played for Edmonton's ECHL affiliate, the Wichita Thunder, last year, taken off the puck, and it's cleared up ice by Jeremy McKenna, and he was not yet at center, so this will be an icing call. 2 minutes into a scoreless first period. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer, with you live from the Centrium in Red Deer, the first of 2 between the Flame and Oiler rookies. They'll play again Tuesday night, 7 o'clock at the Saddle Dome, and then, Bob, the preseason opener with, of course, main camp opening Friday, but the preseason opener will be September 16th at Rogers Place. A game against the Winnipeg Jets, and that'll be a 7 o'clock start. Off the draw, Stuckel's shot was tipped away, and the Flames were able to clear the zone. Worked back in immediately by Vinny Desharnais, the product of Providence College, where he graduated with a degree in finance, meaning that he's right there, smarter than the 2 guys that are calling the game tonight. Here's Stuckel with an interception and a one-handed clear up the right-hand side for Liam Keeler. Take it away, and the Flames work it back in. After it, Brendan DeYoung muscled off the puck by Phillips, hard charging. Behind the net, he centers, and that was deflected. Came out to Yellison now, shot, and that sails high. Kicked off the glass, settled, and forced back in by Hamilton of Calgary. Now Keeler twisted off the puck, Dubé. Faking is Hamilton, lets one fly, that was blocked, rebound, wrist shot wide, and Gaudin had a golden opportunity to get the Flames on the board and miss the net.
Oilers have basically their 4th-line guys on the wings out there for a while. Here's a turnover.
And Tyler Benson, all of a sudden, a 3-on-1. Drop pass, though, and Marody had it swatted away by Hamilton. Forced back inside, and eventually comes free and kept alive by Marody one more time. Benson, behind the net, Ruzicka wins a battle with Hebig, who got off to a strong start for Jay Woodcroft last year, Bob. Cameron Hebig.
Yeah, he did, and then Yamamoto and Puljujärvi went down, and his opportunities in the top line changed a bit with the young guns with Marody and Benson.
Marody flips it back into the Calgary zone, and Edmonton will change. Jay Woodcroft running the Edmonton bench. And again, led the Condors on that amazing winning streak last year. It's their late charge easily secured them a playoff spot. Here's a steal by Logan Day. To the right side for Vesey. He turned it over. A steal, and now it's Pelletier for Calgary. Shot in by Italola, and eventually grabbed by Ryan McLeod. McLeod emerges from a fray. His pass was tipped, and Wells will fall on it with 4 1/4 gone by in the first period.
Got a penalty here, Jack, on the Flames.
It's a trip. McLeod drew it. Ryan McLeod, Bob, he was a guy that lit it up last year, and then for Mississauga got off to a slow start, ultimately was traded, ended up playing for Saginaw in the playoffs, and the numbers weren't quite what they were the previous year.
Yeah, I'd say this about McLeod. He's a very important prospect for the Edmonton Oilers organization. And I think we both think he probably needs 1.5 to 2 years in the minors in the AHL, but he's got a dimension that you need down the middle, and he can fly. And it's just going to be a question of how quickly does he get into the guts of the game, because on nights when he's not effective, he's not in the guts of the game.
Marody, Stukel, and Hebig start on the Oiler power play. Bouchard, after a Calgary clear, will now control up top, and he looks for a weaving Hebig. Tyler Benson rounds out the unit. Hebig got popped, lost his headgear, and he'll come off as Calgary clears with ease. Now Kirill Maximov will come onto the ice, Bob, and he's put up good numbers in each of his 2 full seasons in Niagara.
He had a poor camp here last year, early send-down, but had a great year in junior.
Marody hit the line and then coughed it up. Bouchard on the retrieval. 5 minutes gone by in the first period, 1:15 on this Oiler power play. We're scoreless. Here's Lavoie. Off a feed from Benson, who's as good a playmaker as there is in the American Hockey League right now. Ostap Safin. Injury-plagued campaign last year. Bouchard from the point, and a save made by Zagadulin. And a clear for the Flames.
Jack, he gets the puck through, doesn't he?
Bouchard again operating. This time tried to feed Maximov. It wasn't there. Hamilton will try to clear, but he got tied up. Nice work by Safin along the boards. Went to the Memorial Cup with Halifax last year. Now receives a pass down low. Can't tuck it. 5-hole second chance off the side of the net. Behind the goaltender, still sitting there. A flurry, and Maximov ultimately gives way to Lavoie. Behind the net for Safin. 2 terrific chances, and somehow the puck stayed off the line. Here's Lavoie. Cuts inside. A shot and a save made and covered by Zagadulin. I don't know how that stayed out, Bob. 19 seconds left on the power play, but it started with Safin in tight, peppering Zagadulin. He had 3 cracks at it. The best of those was stopped by a right pad save.
Well, a couple Halifax products with Mooseheads, and unfortunately for Safin, he could never sort of overcome the injuries. Even got hurt in the Memorial Cup final last year, but a strong net drive, and Lavoie is a very interesting prospect for the Oilers organization. 2nd-round pick that fell a bit. He's got some high-end skill and some size.
Off the draw, Samorukov to Logan Day. Right circle, loads it up, and then was forced out wide. He finds Keeler. Behind the net, Bo Sterrett. His brother Shane, an excellent year in net. He was one of the key guys behind that winning streak, Bob. Samorukov fired, and that missed high glove. Kicked off the glass and out of play as the Flames come back to full strength. 13:41 to go in the first. Edmonton has registered 5 of the game's first 6 shots on net. And you know what, partner, as we got a second look at it with that puck coming off the goal line, I'm not so sure when the defenseman cleared it back into Zagadulin's pad that it didn't kick back off that gear and potentially nudge across the line.
Well, he's already, you can see Zagadulin, he's an athletic goaltender. Has to be.
Off the draw, clear, and funneled safely out by Pospisil, who now gains it at center and forces it into the Edmonton zone. Zavgorodi, and he's going to draw a penalty against Vinny Desharnais, and that's good work by Zavgorodi. Got in on the forecheck, and Desharnais with a reach, and that was a pretty obvious call, and now it's Calgary's turn at the man advantage. And Bob, that was part of the reason the Flames swept the rookie games last year. Their specialty teams were better.
They get their first power play unit out on the ice, their top line. Phillips, a big-time offensive producer with Victoria in the Western Hockey League. I mean, when you're talking about a guy that had 90 and 112-point seasons, Godden had 125 points playing for Manny Viveros, winning the WHL championship with Swift Current, earned himself an NHL deal with the Flames. Luke Phillip out there as well, the Alberta Golden Bear who was the CIS or U Sports Player of the Year, Jack.
Had a fantastic year for the Golden Bears, 21 goals. And again, you're talking about a schedule where you play between 24 and 28 games. Off the draw, though, it's Maximov sending it deep into the Flame zone. He's out there with McLeod, Samorukov, and Bouchard on the PK unit. Matthew Phillips, we've seen him at a couple rookie camps. He'll send it left-hand side, and it's swung around the boards. In the mix is Phil. Tugged free by Maximov, and here's Bouchard, and he'll amble out of the zone and actually create maybe a 2-on-1. McLeod bursts across the line, dishes. Maximov a shot, and that was denied. Zagadulin with a big save, and then a hard hit on Maximov behind the net as the Flames extract and pull it out to center. Phillips hits the line. Bouchard the long reach, poked it free.
There's that speed, though, that McLeod has.
And that was a pretty good dish. I'm a little surprised Bob Maximov didn't try to one-time that over the line, but offside the Flames, and that kills the play with 12:17 to go in the period and 52 seconds on the man advantage. And again, best opportunity on this Flames power play belonged to Maximov. And I'm not sure if he takes the one-timer there, Bob. That isn't in the back of the net.
Yeah, McLeod opening him up, too. Put it in a pretty good spot. Zagadulin's got some athleticism, Jack, and a little bit. He's not a huge goaltender, not a blocker, but he's athletic. And with the changes in goaltending equipment, that's the way of the future for Guardians.
Well, that's what the Flames back up tonight. Dustin Wolf hopes gets him to the NHL. He's only 5'11", but he put up Carter Hart numbers last year while playing for Everett as Hart's replacement. Backed him up the year prior. Dylan Dubé, top of the right circle. Beautiful dish. That was broken up, though, and ultimately the play is halted by Dylan Wells and some pushing and shoving involving Day and Eetu Talola. We'll be joined by Keith Gretzky, of course, the AGM for the Edmonton Oilers during our intermission segment. Tony Brar will also have a feature for you on Philip Broberg, who we should explain, Bob, why is Broberg not in these rookie games?
Playing in Sweden, playing in the Swedish Elite League, not over in North America. Well, I'm going to pretty much guarantee you he'll be in this game next year, Jack. 1 year in the Swedish League, year in the American Hockey League, and on to the NHL for him.
Starrett beaten off the draw, and thus the Flames keep the zone here for the final 15 seconds of the power play. Good work by Stukel on the half wall, and that'll allow Starrett a chance to clear, but he did not get it out. Dubé loading, firing, and a save made by Dylan Wells. And the Peterborough Pete will freeze it.
Dylan Dubé's player. He's going to find himself with the Calgary Flames this season. He's quick, explosive guy. To be honest with you, Jack, I thought he might get a few more games last year. He's going to give the Flames, maybe he doesn't start the year necessarily in their top six, but I have a feeling he's certainly going to be a top 9 NHL forward.
I got the sense they were a little concerned he'd get frustrated at the NHL level. He just got the 1 goal in 25 games, and sure enough, he went down to the American Hockey League and proved himself all over again. Outstanding year down in Stockton, Calgary's AHL affiliate. Here's Tyler Benson for the Oilers. Beautiful drag move by Marody, but he couldn't pull the trigger. And nice defensive work by Schuneman to break that up. Jeremy McKenna for the Flames, and he's bottled up, and Benson turning and clearing back through center. 11 minutes to go, first period. We're scoreless. Oilers 6 shots on net, Calgary 3, as Wells just stopped Dubé on Calgary's best chance. Bouchard, lead pass, 1 touch by Maximov. Benson drops it off Marody, gliding, waiting, loading, shooting, and a save made by Zagadulin. Rebound to Calgary and swatted out of midair and down the ice by Talola. Desharnais out of the box, gives way to Brendan DeYoung. Retrieves, then turns it over. Flames with a chance. Shot short side and a save made by Wells. So he took one away from Mauricio Ortiz. A clear up to Nolan Vesey for the Oilers. His brother Jimmy now will play for the Buffalo Sabres after a few years in New York. Well, I should say with the Rangers. He's still in New York. Hamilton with control of the puck as we hit the midway point of the first period. Calgary and Edmonton, no score. Here comes Gaudette. Challenging, centering. Puck somehow finds its way through to Dubé. He's tied up. Nice defensive work by McLeod. Gave it right back, though, at center. Then recovered, clipped by Gaudin, and went down in a heap. Brought back in. Taking it to the hole is Dubé. Forced to retreat by Bouchard, and then he swiped his centering pass to add insult to injury. Flames got it back. Through the neutral zone, Matthew Phillips to the net. Save made Wells. Rebound comes free to Evan Bouchard, and now it's a 2-on-2 for the Oilers. Bouchard unable to hoist the puck down deep, and the turnover results in a Calgary clear back to center. Dubé also had trouble controlling cleanly. And now you've got Yellison trying to make a play on it on the far blue line. Eventually tracked by the Flames, Zavgorodny. 9 minutes to go, first period, we're scoreless. Yellison shoots it in. Day wastes no time in clearing it back to center. Left wing attack. Nielsen bottled up and brought the other way, and Bo Sterrett with a head of steam. Tried to work his way in, but a nice poke check and holding his ground was Schoenemann. He'll get it back from Nielsen, and Calgary back in control of the puck. Attacking is Sterrett. Landed the check, but Calgary able to get it in deep. Trying to power through was Milos Roman. Left it, Pospisil, wild entry pass. That'll kick off the board. Stukel waving at it, and eventually sent a rolling puck tumbling into the Calgary zone. Jack and Bob with you live at Red Deer's Centrium. Earlier today, a luncheon. Red Deer community on hand to see the Oiler execs talk about the upcoming season, and we'll pause right now as Dylan Wells able to scoop up a simple Calgary dump in. And Bob, I mean, you know, it's early on. This is the opening game of rookie camp. For you and I, it's probably the second or third time we've had a chance to see the rookies skate live. What, in your estimation, has stuck out? For me, Bouchard has not made one mistake since he's been out there.
For me, it's the quickness with Tyler Benson.
Oh, okay.
Like he's added, and this is all off season. And one thing that Oiler fans will be excited about, Ethan Bear basically saw the progression that Tyler Benson made last year with his first full off-season trade. Tyler stayed in Edmonton the entire time, never missed a skate. Well, this year, Ethan Bear joined Tyler Benson, and Benson's now had 2 years, and he does not even look close to the same player that we didn't see in these games over the years, because he never was able to seemingly play, and then he'd return to the Vancouver Giants halfway through the year. McLeod is McLeod. He can flat out fly, and
he's already made a couple of subtle plays.
Yeah.
Made a good defensive play.
Yeah, the Oilers have got to hit with him. They got to find a way, and this is going to be, you can draft them, but you've also got to be able to develop them. They've got a couple second-round draft choices in the last 2 years that fell, right? Ryan McLeod fell 2 years ago, and then this past draft, it was Raphael Lavoie following. So
that's a guy I want to see more out of. I mean, not necessarily in this game. He can't critique 10 minutes,
right.
But the postseason that Lavoie had, 22 goals in 27 games.
He had 4 goals in one game, right? I mean, he just kept them going all the time. And so they've got, we're really obviously
3 second-round picks right there: McLeod, Lavoie, and Benson.
And there you go. You got to hit on those. And you take a look at the Oilers' failure as an organization. A lot of it stemmed from missing on second-round picks in 2010. And Tyler Pitlick's an NHLer, but Curtis Hamilton never played he played one NHL game. I think he got called up for it, got a major penalty, but you got to hit on those.
11, 12, and 13 too, yep. Bob, in terms of looking at that second round.
David Musil, Mitch Moroz.
Marco Wall.
Yep.
Nolan Vesey up through center, and he'll jam it in deep for the Edmonton Oilers as we hit the 8-minute mark now. First period, no score. Each team has had a power play and obviously failed to convert. It's booted out of the zone, and this could be icing here against Tolola, and it will be as we get a whistle with 7:39 remaining. Shots 7-5. Last year in the rookie games, Calgary got the nod 7-3, 6-3. But then in the preseason, the Oilers beat the Flames 7-4, 4-3. In that 7-4 win, Dubé had a hat trick, and still they went down.
Yeah, Ryan McLeod was stellar in that opening game. That was the first time we saw the big man coming, Finnish-born goaltender Mikko Koskinen. There were some, he just wasn't used to the angles, the NHL level. He gave up a couple tough goals in that one, but he worked hard on that aspect of his game.
Off the draw, battle for the puck, a wraparound effort taken by Hebig there, and that was knocked away. Cleared by Tolola back through center, but then carried back in immediately by Tyler Benson. He sent it whistling toward the net. It was broken up by Robert Hamilton. punched it up the wall, but not out. Hebig with some good work to hold it right there. Benson, dish, one-timer Bouchard, and a save made by Zagadulin. And a clear for the Flames. Trickling puck settled by Samorukov. Speaking of a big postseason, 10 goals for Guelph in their run to the OHL title. Here's Safin in from the right-hand side. Checked by Hamilton. Went down. So did Marody. No call, and the Flames emerge from their own end. Nielsen slides by Samorukov, but when he tried to center, that was blocked. Bouchard was back defensively, so was Tyler Benson. And now Dubé with a puck in his clutches for the Flames. 6.5 to go, scoreless here in the first. Bouchard a tie-up, a quick dish, loading up, and a beautiful pass from Phillips, and that one Dubé failed to handle. Jacobellis with good puck protection, but did not get it out. Phillips driving his way back in. Bouchard will cut him off, and now take puck possession and find Jacobellis for a routine clear up the right-hand side. Safin, though, skated it back into trouble and turned it over. Phillips had it taken away by Bouchard. Poised as can be, Bob. I mean, especially in his own end. I mean, Bouchard is just looking exceptionally calm out there. Samorukov with control of the puck. And eventually, the Flames able to get it right back. Pospisil, though, couldn't thread it through heavy traffic. Jacobellis ahead. And Stukel finally able to backhand it into the zone. We're still scoreless. Flames give it away at their own blue line. Liam Keeler down low to Bo Starrett, a one-time draft pick of the Chicago Blackhawks. Third rounder, in fact. Back to the point for Day. Strides toward the net, but never pulled the trigger. Still loose, grabbed and flung netward by Stukel, only to have it deflected. Starrett came up with a rebound. And here's Keeler for Edmonton. 5:10 to go, still scoreless in the first. Luke Philp able to take it away. And the Flames will bring it to center and dump it in. Nice work by Nielsen as it's settled down by Wells and left for Logan Day. What a story. Endicott College, tiny school, 2,500 students, a suburb of Boston. Here's Hebig, in for the left side. Beautiful move by Marody, but couldn't finish the play. Gave way to Hebig, and now DeYoung at the point will try to hold it in. Day put up 34 points for Jay Woodcroft last year in Bakersfield, a Condor rookie record.
And got himself an NHL contract in the process.
Desharnais briefly held it in, but then muffed one, and here's McKenna for Calgary. Hard charging. Roman out to the point, but Hamilton wasn't stationed there yet, and with 4:20 to go, the Flames have to back off. Shots are 9-5 Edmonton. Change for the Oilers. Here's Yellison, and he'll toss it toward the Oiler net. DeYoung trying to protect. Got run off by Ruzicka. Pelletier had it, briefly lost it, and now you got a four-player scrum in the corner. Tugged free by Ryan McLeod for Edmonton, and now DeYoung guides it along the wall. Desharnais too slow to get there, and it leads to a scoring chance. Whipped wide by Ruzicka. A blast from the point. Yellison misses. Held in by Talola. Works it around the wall. A good play that time by Nolan Vesey to make sure of a clear.
Oilers have had some issues going up against this top line here. Dubé's back on the ice.
3.5 to go. Dubé streaks in, leaves it. Phillips open, passes on the shot, behind the net, and he'll move it out. Nielsen looks like he wants to fire, waited too long, blocked by Maximoff. Karam directly to Lavoie, and he'll muscle his way to center, and that's it. Phillips gathers himself one more time for the Flames. Now Schuenemann. Shot blocked by Day. Bouchard first to the puck for Edmonton. Dubé briefly tied him up. Safin came over to help out and support, got it back from Day, and here come the Oilers. With pace, Safin. Over the line, Jacobellis. Right pad save made successfully by Zagadulin, and a clear by the Flames to center. Cap, Jacobellis, and it's fired right back in. 2.5 now remaining, first period. Tony Brar will take a look at Philip Broberg's NHL draft experience in Vancouver during our intermission, and then we'll be joined by Assistant General Manager Keith Gretzky of the Edmonton Oilers. That'll be a live segment. Bob will have Brad Pascal, his Calgary counterpart, between the second and third frames, and a drive from the point is held by goaltender Zagadulin as Bo Sterrett forces it toward the net. Sterrett, a product of the Cornell Big Red. Of course, Riley Nash always springs to mind when you think of an Edmonton guy that played for the Big Red. And, of course, Nash never played for Edmonton, but he's carved himself out a pretty decent career, only to kind of hit a wall last season.
Well, what's interesting with Nash, we talk about those second-round picks. He was a 21st overall pick back in 07, and the Oilers couldn't sign him, so they traded in Nash's rights, got a second-round pick that turned out to be Martin Marincin. As a result, 2010, their third second-rounder from that 2010 draft.
Off the draw, Jeremy McKenna able to get it in for Calgary. Benson wastes no time in sending Marody up the right side, but he's stymied. And now it's Hamilton. Up to McKenna for the Flames. No score. We're down to 1:50 here in this first period at the Red Deer Centrium, home of the Red Deer Rebels. Ryan Nugent Hopkins Jr. team, among others. McKenna back behind the net. Controlling. Battling, and now leaving it ultimately for Ruzicka. Quick shot. Mason Morelli thwarted by Logan Day. Puck loose along the end boards. Ruzicka comes out in front, tied up by Marody. Quick shot taken and stopped. Well played by Dylan Wells, protecting that short side, and he needed to because that was a decent chance, as it turned out, for Calgary's Jeremy McKenna. After a clear, walking back in, Talola. His shot off the blocker of Wells, high up off the glass, and fired down the ice by Marody. It's maybe icing. Puck on edge, and there goes the whistle with 58 seconds to go in this scoreless first period. Shots 11-7. Wells has made some good saves from in tight. Also, Bob, I mean, why I'm impressed by those stops is they've come off plays where it didn't look like Calgary was going to get anything off.
I do think that the Flames rookies have sort of tilted the ice here in about the last 7 or 8 minutes. A lot of it stemming from that top line of 3 guys that had an extensive American Hockey League experience last year.
I think Calgary, and that line in particular, has been a shade better on the forecheck to this point. Off the draw, Edmonton caught in a change, but Calgary is caught offside. And Dubé in prematurely from the left wing. They had something going there because the Oilers tried to make a change and didn't execute it as Jay Woodcroft might have hoped. 50 seconds to go in the frame. Still no score, and now we'll have a neutral zone draw.
Bouchard and Samorukov on the ice, and those are 2 of the Oilers' 3 best prospects moving forward. Broberg, the other one, says something about the future of their defense. All probably should be top 4 NHL defensemen at some point, Jack.
Sterrett moved up with McLeod and Maximoff here for the final shift of this first period. Calgary operating in the offensive zone. Bouchard pulls free. Maybe getting away with a hold there was Gaudin. Bo Sterrett ahead to Samorukov. Each team scoreless on its lone power play opportunity. Samorukov sandwiched, got it off to Sterrett, and now McLeod breaks free. Sterrett fires it right off the mask of Zagadulin. Final 15 seconds. Good look from McLeod once again.
Yeah, he can make plays.
Here's Sterrett, McLeod one touch, Samorukov now lining it up. Weak shot along the ice, steered into the corner, and at the horn. One last shot fired wide by Evan Bouchard, and our opening 20 minutes ends with no score. And Bob, your initial impressions centered primarily around the work of Tyler Benson, but we also saw some pretty good moments with, among others, Ryan McLeod and Evan Bouchard.
I was going to say, for me, Ryan McLeod, as the period wore on, the play that he made shorthanded for the Oilers, creating the 2-on-1 look, and then late in the period giving Sterrett another opportunity. And you know, you notice the guys obviously that can fly, and he can fly. I mean, he's got, again, if Eric Holla, I don't think anybody thought Eric Holla was when Minnesota, you know, let Holla and Tuck go to Vegas. I don't think they saw him as a guy in high 20 goal scorer. You know, you look at McLeod, and can he, we both think he's going to play in the NHL. The question is, probably needs 1.5 to 2 years, right? And there's moments where maybe he's not in the play enough, and then there's other times where he's never out of the play because of that speed. So he created a couple plays there, are really impressive for the Oilers offensively. Their 2 best looks in the last 15 minutes of the period both came from Ryan McLeod. Benson's line had some initial success, Benson and Marody in particular, which makes sense. They played together so much last year. And Wells was solid in goal because there were some bang-bang plays down low.
What struck me most about Evan Bouchard's game Not necessarily the playmaking, but just the poise in his own end. He looked totally in control there. And yes, he had all kinds of experience last year. You think about it. He played rookie, preseason, NHL regular season games, got his first goal at the NHL level, played in the World Juniors, played in the Ontario Hockey League playoffs, played in the American Hockey League playoffs, and he looked like he was an experienced guy out there.
The question that's going to be for Evan here is as we move forward, pace and urgency, right? Because when you're playing against NHL caliber players, they're on you in a hurry. And I think that was a concern last season for Todd McClellan at the start of the year. I mean, he scored in his last game, he scored a goal and didn't get back out there, right? So, I thought he was a lot more composed. Samorukov got caught running around on a couple chips, but had a good final shift to the period. Some interesting things from an Edmonton perspective, but they did have some issues handling that Flames top line, a line that played most of the season together last year. All three of those guys spent a lot of time down in Stockton.
Evan Bouchard, of course, the Oilers' first-round draft pick in 2018. Their first-round draft pick in 2019, Philip Broberg, was selected in Vancouver. And as we go to the drill presented by Ford, Tony Brar takes a look at that NHL draft experience.
Text messages?
Yeah, from...
Did you get maybe a 416?
Yeah, oh, yeah, it's Connor McDavid.
I think at 8, we think we're going to get a really good player. They're not going to help us tomorrow. It's in the future, and we all realize that. And I think our fans now realize that that's what our goal is to let them develop. And Bob and his staff have done a great job of getting ready. And if they were to pick 5 or to pick 15 instead of the 8, they're ready, and that's what we look for. You can't worry about other teams because you can be dead wrong, and you have to worry about your team and what you need and why you like this player, why he should be in the order that they're in.
It's like every draft. I think any time whether you pick 8 or later or earlier, I think you want to, you just want to hit on your pick and you want to get a good player that's going to help your organization, whether it's immediately or a couple of years down the road. You just want to find somebody that's going to play in and help you win.
The Oilers are faced with looking at Cole Caulfield, Trevor Zegras, and Matthew Boldy, defenseman Philip Broberg, and with Cousins just having gone 7th, he's off the board.
With the 8th pick in the draft, the Edmonton Oilers select from AIK Sweden, Philip Broberg.
Tim Cosentino, the Oilers go with the Swedish defenseman.
An absolutely fascinating year for this young man. When we showed up in August at the Hlinka Gretzky in Edmonton Red Deer, you couldn't find this guy on anyone's list. Well, he started lugging the puck around and people are saying, oh, wait a sec, this guy's pretty good.
Är det bra? Det är bra. Tack så mycket. I'm just so honored to be Oiler now, and I'm just so happy right now. I'm waiting for this day for a long time now, so it's just a release that it finally came. Thank you. Here we go.
Look at this, just essentially like a hype video in front of like your name and your team and all that. So it should be pretty cool. It's really easy. We already have it all ready for you. But you're going to do this first, and then I think you're going to.
So is it me who's going to make up the moves? I'm not sure.
Alright, whenever you're ready. Yeah, look into the camera. Get them hype. Yeah.
That's awesome. 22, that's really good. That's awesome. Yes, you know Zach Bogosian in Buffalo?
Yeah.
He messaged me this morning.
Wow.
Yeah, it's through my agent. We have the same agent.
That's nice.
Fine. Yeah.
He said good luck? Or?
Yeah, just good luck, and the hard work starts after you have been drafted.
Skönt.
Bra gjort.
Grattis!
Tack så mycket.
Bra jobbat.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, it's Connor David. He's called me. No, he's called me. I couldn't respond. Tried to call you 3 times.
Oh yeah, what did he say in the text message?
Oh, hey bud, it's Connor McDavid. Tried to call you a couple of times, but it won't go through. Congrats, man. Looking forward to getting to know you. Have fun tonight with your family and see you soon. That's awesome.
Did you text him back?
Yeah, why not? Hey Philip, congrats man. Happy to have you on the squad. You're going to love being an Oiler. If you need anything, doesn't hesitate to reach out. Sam Gardner. That's awesome.
Oh, I like that he's talented. I like that he's 6'3". I like that he can skate. He can move the puck. He can transport the puck. A lot of good players at the top part of the draft. We knew we were going to get a good player. We're excited to get Philip.
For me, I draft the best player because, again, I come back to it, and this player's not going to play for a few years, so you can't, predict what you're going to have in 3-4 years from now, even though you might be great in one area or weak in another area. For me, I always believe that you take the best player and whatever it is, and just move forward.
Welcome back to the Centrium in Red Deer. I'm Jack Michaels, now joined by Oilers Assistant General Manager and the General Manager, of course, of the Bakersfield Condors, Keith Gretzky. No score through 20 minutes of play. Oilers outshot the Flames, rookies 13-7. Keith, Bob and I were speculating, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So for Raphael Lavoie and some of these other rookies in camp, I know it's the first game, I know it's early September, but everything means something, does it not? What are you and the brass looking at?
Well, you're right. The biggest thing is it's not July where you're coming in for development camp, getting your feet wet. They should know, and they do know, that they've got to make an impression on the staff to show us what they can do and what they, are really good at, and they have to strive on that and make a good impression.
There's that other group. The group that, quite frankly, this potentially is the first step in the process toward making the opening night roster. For guys like Evan Bouchard, Tyler Benson, those are the guys, Cooper Marody. Those are guys that I imagine this game takes on that much more significance.
Well, you want to go out there and play well and show that what you can do. So when it comes to the NHL games, that these coaches are looking at it and they say, these guys played well in the rookie games, and we want to see them against the big boys. So it's very important for them to come out and play well.
Is it magnified at all by the fact that you've got 2 fresh sets of eyes at extremely important positions in Ken Holland and Dave Tippett?
Well, of course, especially Ken. He's probably seen a lot of these guys and out scouting, so he knows most of them. But when it comes down to it, it's, you practice. Anybody can practice. But when you're battling, competing, and playing hard, that's when your game has to really rise.
That first period, Evan Bouchard looked a lot like a guy who's had a lot of experience already in a short career. He played at virtually every level there is in hockey last year, and he looked, for me, especially poised in his own end. Not necessarily slowing the game down, but controlling the game.
Yeah, you know what? I've seen that. So what I was impressed with was his quickness.
Yeah.
I thought he really looked quicker. He had a lot more jump. Wasn't waiting for his D partner to go back and get the puck. I see a big improvement in that part of his game because I've seen that other part. So it's good to see that they're raising their level and improving in those areas.
Ryan McLeod, for me personally, has been a real tantalizing prospect. I love the kind of plays he can make. As you can imagine, for the average guy, he can be an electrifying player. Having said that, after a good camp last year, he didn't quite have the season he wanted. What are you looking for from him in the next couple of weeks?
Well, you saw in the first period, I thought he really supported the puck well, made smart plays, he used his speed. I thought he started getting his nose in there and getting dirty and playing hard and competing, and that's what he really has to improve on for me. And biggest thing too is shoot the puck. You saw a couple of times I thought, he overlooks and, get it and rifle that puck.
Cooper Marody. He's a guy that's a little bit more of a polish tool, having played obviously at an NCAA Division I program. He was a workhorse for Bakersfield last year, and of course got some NHL games. What's his last hurdle to making the big club permanently?
I think the quickness, and I see him that he's getting a little quicker. I think he's really in great shape. So for me, it'd be his quickness, and I see that he's improved on that.
What about Kyler Yamamoto? Fans are going to, want to know, is he going to be able to play in main camp? Is he going to be able to get some preseason games?
He's like anybody else. They're going to fight for a job, and when he gets called upon to play, he's going to play, and it's one of those things. There's a lot of guys here, and they just got to battle hard.
Is there a guy or two, and this might be putting you in a bind, but there's always the usual suspects, the guys like Bouchard and Benson that people are constantly wondering, well, what do they need to do to make the big club? Is there a guy or two that's not maybe necessarily a lock to make the NHL roster, but a guy that Bob and I should be paying attention to, and the average fan should just keep an eye on, a guy that maybe has caught your eye that might be completely under the radar?
I don't see it like that. I see it's whoever comes out, and it's every game. It's not going to be one game or a period and a half. It's coming out and playing hard. Every game that you have a chance to play in the exhibition games, you're going to earn a job.
Well, and speaking of earning a job, I guess the guy that comes to mind immediately in that category was Logan Day from last year.
Yeah, you see the offensive skill, and he looks quicker too. His skating in a year has really jumped up. And his D-zone play has really improved. I think Dave Manson did a great job with him last year and Bakersfield. So, you never know.
Has there been much of a transition for you? Obviously you're working with a different team this year. Does that mean anything differently for you?
No, you know what? I'm open and always wanting to learn. And, the one good thing is I know these players, and when Ken needs an opinion, I'm not afraid to give it to him if he doesn't know these guys.
Keith, thanks so much for the time. We look forward to seeing you a little bit later on in the preseason.
Same to you.
All right, that's Keith Gretzky, the assistant general manager for the Edmonton Oilers and, of course, the GM of the Bakersfield Condors. In just a moment, we'll be taking a look at our first period highlights. No score after 20. The Edmonton and Calgary Rookies live from Red Deer. Welcome back to the Centrium in Red Deer. Beautiful afternoon, and It's a great day for hockey. Welcome back to the 2019-20 campaign on Oilers TV. Jack Michaels along with Bob Stauffer, the radio team for the Edmonton Oilers on 630 CHED, and around the dial on the Edmonton Oilers radio network. We're going to be back on the air on the radio side Tuesday night in a rematch of these two hockey clubs. That'll be a 7 o'clock start at the Saddledome on Tuesday. But first off, the opening 20 minutes, scoreless. Oilers outshot the Flames 13-7, and Bob, you know, Keith Gretzky, in talking about Evan Bouchard, he mentioned the quickness.
Yeah.
He had already seen the calm and the poise, because of course he saw most of his campaign last year, but what struck him was the quickness and the alacrity with which Bouchard played.
Let's see if that is a theme that continues moving forward tonight's game.
What, in your mind, moving forward, you know, Raphael Lavoie is a guy that can fill the net. And in the NHL these days, you're always looking for guys who are actually willing to shoot. Lavoie and Ryan McLeod, Keith said he'd like to see McLeod shoot the puck a little bit more too, because he has elite finish. I think that's something that in these rookie and preseason games, you've got to dance with who brung you. No deferential play here. For Lavoie, do what you do best, and that's finish.
Yeah, the other thing with McLeod, Jack, is he's moving.
Yeah.
Right? And because he's moving, that changes the angles and makes it more difficult for goaltenders. I think, again, with Ryan McLeod, he teases you, right? And it's really interesting. I mean, you would have thought it's funny, right? Samorukov last year, Maximov, and Safin all went back to junior fairly early. The Oilers didn't waste a lot of time. And conversely, McLeod got a long look. And, you know,
as he should have.
Right, and he earned it. You mentioned Lavoie. He's looking to get I'm not sure if he's going to get more than 2 preseason games, but, you know, Todd McClellan rode McLeod hard last year in preseason. And there's an illustration. It can happen. We both think that Dave Tippett's going to get to
and that's a good sign. When your coach takes an active interest in you, even if he's on you, and what Todd McClellan wanted to see was a more polished defensive approach to the game. And Keith did note between frames that he was impressed by a couple of plays that we talked about on the defensive side of the puck that McLeod made in the first.
Because he's got that speed, he can be the low support guy defensively and make some plays. And, I mean, he can get there. So,
what'd you think of Dave Tippett's 5 attack, 5 back comment today? And I think I actually thought of Ryan McLeod right away when he said it.
Well, I totally agree with him that there was separation at times, too much separation on the ice between the forwards and the defense. I expect the Oilers' defense under Jim Playfair and Dave Tippett to be more active, and that might change something for a guy like Chris Russell. That might also explain why Russell looks like he's going to start on the left side.
Why do you say that?
Well, because Chris is a guy at times that some people think has given up the blue line too easily, and that's part of the reason why, you know, he blocks so many shots, is he's constantly sort of in a defensive posture. And maybe when you're playing the right side instead of the left side in your left shot, that's part of the reason why. So I'm going to be very intrigued to see the Oilers' defensive battle, and that battle has started here tonight with a guy like Bouchard and even a Samorukov. Like Samorukov, quick send down last year. He's looking to get into a couple preseason games as well.
You know, it's interesting because you've said before on our broadcast that, you know, Chris Russell playing on his offside, actually some of the defensive metrics show he's better on that side. So is that an adjustment potentially that he might have to make?
Yeah, well, I think that the team wants to play differently, and I don't think they want the D to be as passive as they were at times last season.
Off the draw to start the second period, the Oilers advance into the zone, and Marody is offside 11 seconds in. Again, the first period shots on net 13-7 for the Oilers. Neither team failed to convert on its lone power play opportunity, and now we'll have a neutral zone draw. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you again. Some important dates. The rematch of the Oiler and Flame rookies Tuesday live from the Saddledome will be on the air 6:30 CHED, flagship home of the Oilers radio network. First preseason game with the NHL camp being activated on Friday will be September 16th. That's a week from Monday. We'll have it for you live from Rogers Place at 7 o'clock against the Winnipeg Jets. Of course, October 2nd, the date we're all looking forward to, and that's the regular season opener. Oilers Canucks live from Rogers, 8 o'clock start. Flames off a loose puck, able to carry the play up ice. Dubé, beautiful feed to the net, a backhand denied as Wells slid over and foiled Glenn Gaudin.
Thought that should have been a penalty.
Benson to Maximov. Now Benson from the corner. And Ethan Kapp, he's got to take one more stride there, Bob, and it's a one-timer.
Yeah, he hasn't, it's interesting. 10th overall pick Bantam draft. Thought he might have a little bit more offense at major junior level.
Logan Day gliding, waiting for someone to break open, eventually drops it to McLeod. He'll shoot it, and it went off his teammate Bo Starrett in front, trying to set a screen for him. Flames able to chop it loose. Dubé hammered from behind by Day, but he still got it ahead. And here comes Matthew Phillips. Great backtrack by Bo Starrett, and avoiding the penalty in doing so with a clear to center. Eventually, it's Maximov to the streaking Day. Spun around by Hamilton behind the net, Starrett. Now Day, centering pass, it was there, but an active stick. Nice play by Ruzicka. Broke it up. Pelletier with a shot. Whistled off the shoulder of Wells. We fully expect Stuart Skinner at some point in this hockey game. Remains to be seen whether he comes in at the break midway through the second period or after 40 minutes are complete. Hamilton for the Flames. Still scoreless early second. Trickles on net. Wells able to cover. With 2:09 having elapsed in this second period and still no score on the board. Wells played last year in Bakersfield, saw a little more action in Wichita where he went 12-5-2 with a save percentage of better than 91.
Pretty nice move by Jacob Pelletier, late first round pick for the Flames, playing for Moncton this year. Be a teammate of Oilers rookie team goaltender Olivier Rodrigue, who we're going to see on Tuesday night in Calgary.
Off the draw, DeYoung with a clear for Edmonton. Flames whistled for an offside, much to the chagrin of a protesting Martin Pospisil. Neutral zone face-off upcoming.
He's been running around a bit. There's a difference, Jack, from when we first started doing these rookie games back in 2010 in Penticton. And there used to be 4 or 5 fights.
Well, a couple of years ago in the USHL, Pospisil 253 minutes in penalties.
He would have already been in one a couple of years ago.
He had less than half that last year. Here's Jacobellis gaining the line. Knocked away and cleared by Onyebuchi. And we're going to have a penalty coming up. I think it's on DeYoung. Did Pospisil draw one that time, coming down the right wing? Time of the penalty was 2:39.
Got the reach on him.
Yeah, and it's going to be Brendan DeYoung. Got that stick parallel.
Played with Portland last year. Strong major junior organization.
Brother Nolan last year in the Edmonton organization, he was a teammate of Jacobellis down in Wichita in the ECHL, drafted by Minnesota.
Jared Frederick was a pretty good puck-moving defenseman for the Winterhawks last season.
Off the draw, Ruzicka sent one toward the net. Wells able to scoop it up as Ruzicka winning the faceoff from McLeod, who's out there with Bouchard, Samorukov, and Maximov on the penalty kill. Less than 3 gone by in this second period, and still no score. Calgary looking to get on the board here.
Calgary's at 41 contracts, Jack. They've got 5 players coming in on PTOs.
Ruzicka ambling his way to center. Dylan Dubé. Saucer pass to the point. And now Ruzicka tried to go back to Dubé. Nielsen calling. And then dishing right back to Dubé. Challenged by Samorukov behind the net. And Tolola with an errant pass that chases the Flames back to their own blue line. Ruzicka ahead to Pelletier. Tosses safely back to the high slot. And now loading up is Nielsen. Shot blocked up top. Hebig trying to find it in his feet. Did so and tugged it inside the Calgary blue. Zagadulin advances it ahead to Dubé. He'll break around to Hebig, drop it off. Wrist shot tipped up and out of play with 52 seconds left on the penalty to Brendan DeYoung. A 6th round pick of the Carolina Hurricanes back in 2017. Carolina getting Jake Gardner this week as the Hurricanes have had quite an interesting offseason.
Tom Dundon has shaken some things up. We should mention our old friend Ricky Olczyk joining Ron Francis with Seattle this week.
Congratulations to Ricky O. one-time Oilers AGM. Off the draw, worked down low, and that's broken up by Cap. Comes free, and a high toss sent up ice by Sterrett. Perfectly played, and Hamilton forced to grab it with 30 seconds left on the power play. 4 minutes gone here. Second period, we're still scoreless. Got it. Gathering in a pass, but then he fell down. Day unable to clear initially. Tied up in the corner. Pospisil, who drew the penalty that created this power play. Got it. Inside. Shot Zavgorodny, had it blocked. And now the Oilers. Maybe a 2-on-1. Vesey to Keeler. Shot and a save made. Zagadulin. Peeked behind him, but he had it pinned underneath his left elbow. And Liam Keeler, who had 24 points and was a plus 16 last year with the Edmonton Oil Kings.
He's looking for a big step forward this year, Jack.
A plus 32 turnaround, though, for him, among others. I mean, that team was filled with those kinds of guys.
He was second-round draft choice in the Western Hockey League draft out of Southside Athletic Club. And he's got a lot more offensive upside than he showed last year.
Off the draw, a drive from the point by Samorukov is spun on a play by Zagadulin. Penalty to DeYoung is over. Cap was probably the guy with the biggest turnaround, plus 58 turnaround.
Well, there was some thought, Cap was pretty frustrated with, he's represented by Jerry Johansson out of Edmonton, and things had not gone well, but obviously Brad Lauer and Kurt Hill did a tremendous job, and some of their young guys matured.
Went from dash 36 to plus 22 in 1 year. Desharnais shot off the draw, and a save made by Zagadulin. Flames come up with a rebound eventually, but a nice play by Marody along the end wall to give Edmonton a second look. Benson guides it back, shot to Young, dropped, and then loose, and ultimately picked up by Hebig. Zagadulin once again almost putting it into his own net. Of course, there's no instant replay here in the rookie games, and I think Calgary might have gotten away with one. There's a check by Desharnais, and he's going to get whistled for his second minor of the game as he drilled McKenna right in the back with a cross check. Time 5:19. And the Oilers will be shorthanded.
Well, that's a cross check.
Second time already in this period that Edmonton has been down a man. Yeah, that was a bit of a no-doubter for Vinny Desharnais, who was voted the top defensive defenseman in Hockey East last year. A very competitive NCAA Division I conference, as you know, Bob.
He's trying to do the same thing that Logan Day did, right? Come in on an American League deal and earn himself an NHL contract.
Face-off win for Ryan McLeod. He'll spin and rifle it up the boards and out to center. Backing off is Nielsen. McLeod with pressure. To Lola. Grabs the puck, threw it off the boards, and now checked to the ice, but popping right back up is Pelletier. Nielsen. Right circle shot taken by Dubé, and that deflected out of play by Ethan Cap. 14:11 to go in the period. 90 seconds to go in this man advantage for Calgary. Still no score in the second period. Coming up between frames, Bob Stauffer will have a conversation with Brad Pascal of the Calgary Flames.
So Andrew Nielsen, Jack, a couple of years ago, Maple Leafs pick, had a tremendous offensive campaign in the NHL and then kind of stagnated in that organization.
Yeah, he was a regular point producer, 30-point guy for the Toronto Marlies, and they shipped him off midway through last season. Dylan Dubé gaining the offensive zone. Samorukov there defensively for Edmonton. Dubé shot Nielsen, glove save Wells. Clean look at it, and Wells with a routine stop. Minute 2 to go on the Calgary power play.
Luke Phillip hopping on the ice here. Finished up his junior career in Red Deer as well. Jack, you'd remember he was picked up from the Kootenay Ice as part of Red Deer's Memorial Cup bid. They hosted the tournament. They brought in Jake DeBrusk and Luke Phillip, but he had broken his ankle. Never really was at 100% for the Rebels during the Memorial Cup run.
Off the draw, juggled away by Calgary and forced up ice by Hebig. Bouchard gave it away, and a chance. Oh, Pospisil bobbled. He had an open net, turned and backhanded it right off the chest of Dylan Wells. But if Pospisil handles that pass cleanly, Bob, it's in the net.
It was Luke Philp with the pass.
Wide open. Pospisil centers, tipped off the pads of Wells, still bouncing around. Hebig tried to clear, and that was knocked down by Philp. Gets it back, does Philp. Hamilton waiting, shooting, save Wells, and this time he'll cover with no second chance opportunity. Flames peppering that net. They've got 5 shots on this power play, but none have snuck past Dylan Wells. 12:59 to go in the second, and 18 seconds left on the man advantages. Starrett, Cap, Keeler, and Logan Day come out to kill off the remaining power play time.
Jay Woodcroft's given everybody an opportunity, right? He's not sitting there and relying on his AHL vets in all the situations.
Off the draw, Edmonton able to win it, and Cap fires it down the ice. Well, and that, quite frankly, in these rookie games,
that's what it's about.
Exactly what the head coach is there for. Make sure everyone gets an opportunity, and most importantly, gives guys like Dave Tippett, Keith Gretzky, and most importantly, Ken Holland, a good look at everyone on this roster. Here's Keeler, bouncing it in for Edmonton. Carefully played by Zagadulin up the right-hand side. Zavgarani able to shrug off a check, but Calgary's offside. 12:26 to play in the second period. No score. Edmonton coming off a non-playoff campaign for the 12th time in the last 13 years. Bob, what's your general outlook in terms of what you foresee at the top and then in the middle of the Western Conference? The middle, to me, looks like a large pack of teams somewhere between 85 and 95
points. I think that's a fair assessment. For the Oilers to get there, they're going to have to cut down their goals against. It's going to start there.
Off the draw, it's Day charging in right-hand side. Onyebuchi able to make a play up the middle. Kamloops Blazer. And now a little give and go with Roman on the backside of it, but a turnover forced by Lavoie. Excellent play on Hamilton. Lavoie to the net. And finally the puck was poked free before he could get a shot off. Onyebuchi muffed one, and Safin able to hold the zone and give Lavoie an opportunity. Two were teammates on Halifax Mooseheads squad that went all the way to the Memorial Cup final last year. Breaking in. Tololo couldn't make a play. Edmonton a clear. Nielsen fires it right back in. Now Marody for the Oilers. 11:20 to play second period. Shots are now 17-15 in favor of Edmonton. Benson swatted one in the general direction of the net. Tolola back defensively. Hebig run into the boards by Ruzicka. Reversed by Tolola, but there's DeYoung. Slapper from the point, not much on it. Sifted wide and ultimately gathered and cleared by Nielsen, and Calgary with a 2-on-2. Tolola to Ruzicka. He'll go nowhere. DeYoung all over him. Samorukov tries to nudge it ahead for Tyler Benson and eventually succeeds. Good board work by Benson and a clear inside the Calgary blue line. And Bob, I know in your conversations on Oilers Now, oh, here's Dubé breaking in, faked the backhander and was poke checked away by Wells. He'll come up with it with 10.5 to go in the second period. And now Benson getting a little bit of a dust up, but Jay Woodcroft went out of his way numerous times on your daily program, Oilers Now, to talk not so much about Benson's playmaking ability, but his board work.
Yeah. Well, we saw the best offensive opportunity in the second period. Oilers got in on the forecheck, and they got in on the forecheck, and Benson made a one-touch pass, and they got it back to the point, created a second chance opportunity off what should have been a dead offensive cycle. So He can make plays quickly, but he protects the puck well, and he's smart. I think Tyler senses right now that Calgary's got a bit of momentum. There's a little bit of a face wash to one of the Flames' better players. Gets a face-off outside the blue line in the process.
Well, the biggest thing for him was the first time since his Southside Athletic Club days, he was able to play a full season and be healthy Only Condor to play in all 68 games. In that division in the American Hockey League, you play only 68.
Jack, I mean this. If he makes the team, I could see him being a 30 to 35 point guy this year as a middle six forward.
Maximov with a drop off that's picked off by Dylan Dubé. Flames into the zone, deflected just wide by Hamilton off the rush. And the Oilers look to punch it up the right-hand side. Bouchard again wins a battle down low rather routinely. And now will jump up in the play with Ryan McLeod. To Sterrett, back to McLeod, and the puck left in the general vicinity of Sterrett, but ultimately cleared by Calgary. And now Bouchard against Dubé back in the Edmonton zone. Stepping up is Yellison. Couldn't pull the trigger against VC of the Oilers. Got it back, fired. Right pad save made by Wells, and he'll cover the rebound as well with 9:41 to go in the second period. And slowly, as this game has developed, and we'll take a quick minute break here in terms of the live action, but Bob and I will keep it right here for you on Oilers TV. I mean, Dylan Wells, it must be said, I mean, all of a sudden he's up to 18 saves, and he's done an excellent job of rebound control, and that'll be all for Dylan Wells, but he acquitted himself quite nicely.
Yeah, he did. He's had a real interesting career because the year out, the year he was drafted, he had a tough campaign. Then the next season, he was absolutely stellar. Then his final year of junior, he was stuck on a crappy team and faced a lot of rubber. Last year, I think he surprised some people. It was a surprising year. I mean, think about the start of the season and what the plan was, Jack, in the American Hockey League. Al Montoya, right? And Al ended up dealing with an upper body issue that really just kept him in. They had no choice, but they needed Shane Sterrett to step in, and he was earned himself another NHL contract by his play, and then they kind of alternated between Wells and Skinner. By the end of the playoffs, it was Skinner that had come in there when Sterrett had run out of steam a bit. Oilers are at a different place now, maybe goal, and I'm not saying they've got anybody that we would consider to be an elite prospect in goal, but you know what? Sometimes your best goaltenders aren't guys that are second-round picks. Sometimes you can hit on a 5th, 6th, or 7th round, but Wells is a 5th rounder, Skinner a 3rd rounder, Rodriguez a 2nd, late 2nd, and I think the hope is to see 1 or 2 of those guys over the course of the next 4 to 6 years transition and become legitimate NHL netminders. One thing that we should state is when it comes to goalies, Jack, it's a buyer's market.
Now Rodriguez was a 2nd-round draft pick, but was he not the first goaltender drafted that year, or among the first?
He was certainly one of the first 3.
Yeah, that was not a particularly strong year in terms of a ton of goaltending, or at least elite goaltending prospects. So Stuart Skinner comes on. 30 minutes and 19 seconds of work for Dylan Wells. He can close the book on him, stopping all 18 shots he faced. Skinner, as Bob mentioned, took over, got some playoff work for the Bakersfield Condors. Spent the bulk of the campaign in Wichita at the ECHL level and posted a .903 save percentage down there. Samorukov able to deflect it down deep, and now we've got our first fight of this rookie game, and Sterrett went down on a right hand from Onyebuchi.
Onyebuchi played last year for Serge Lajoie. Stu McGregor, brought him in year before that. He's a tough kid, and he got the upper hand. That's a Western Hockey League guy fighting a guy that played last year in the NCAA, and did not go well for Sterrett. And you know what?
I don't think Sterrett really had a chance to get in the fight.
He got jumped. He got jumped. He got suckered. The fans are booing. And my guess here is the Calgary player may get
I mean, Sterrett barely.
No.
He didn't have his gloves off, and the right hand was coming from Onyebuchi. That was not a square him up, clean fight whatsoever.
You know what? It should be the minimum that it should be is a 5 for the Flames player and a minor for the Oilers' Bo Sterrett, who's going off.
Sterrett he did not have a shot there.
Yeah, and it was a one puncher, but you got to at least.
I'm not sure he saw the blow released.
No,
he saw it by the time, but it was already on its way.
No, that's fair. And again, you have a guy that's used to fighting.
Exactly.
The guy had over 120 penalty minutes last year. He's a big man, and I don't see how they can call.
I got to say, Bob, I thought that was a cheap play.
Yeah. And Jay Woodcroft is not getting the explanation he's looking for here.
Yeah. That was not a full square up. even you and I kind of caught the back end of the fight, so we needed a second look at it to be sure.
Pretty bad play.
But
now some would say if you're a Flames fan, you're saying you got to be ready to fight, you got to be ready to engage. But it is going to. It's not even going to be a power play. It's 5 Flames players on the ice here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that becomes a 5-5.
Well, I understand you have to be ready to fight, but it's not like Bo Sterrett took a long time getting his gloves off. I mean, the gloves were off before Onyebuchi really grabbed him. And that was all in one motion. Off the draw, Samorukov fires right into the chest of Zagabulin, who does a good job peering his way through traffic. And of course, I mean, it's an incumbent upon Onyebuchi. I mean, as we talked about, Calgary does not have any draft picks on defense in this hockey game. So Onyebuchi is looking to get noticed. So you understand where he's coming from, but that was not necessarily a clean square him up and let him fly type of bout. Samorukov slowed up Pospisil, but there's Luke Philp. And he'll wire one, I believe, off the glove of Skinner, off the plexiglass and out of play. So that faceoff will remain in the attack zone for the Flames. Scoreless second period, 9:09 to play.
Benson's been a little irritated here in the second period. And, Tyler was a captain in Vancouver. He's wearing a letter here tonight. And he's just letting guys know that it's not going to be easy.
Ryan McLeod, clean face-off win, and Cap will leave it for Logan Day, who likewise is wearing a letter. Cap will gain the line. Checked, forced to give it up. Good play by Roman of Calgary. And now the Flames on the move. It's Roman, spins around Day, takes it to the net, quick shot to save Skinner. Rebound, Day got it caught in his feet, and coming up with it is Morelli. With Cap draped all over him. Morelli, a poor pass behind Andrew Nielsen, who, to be fair, kind of drifted toward the high slot and really didn't give Morelli a play. Clear by the Flames back towards center. Knocked away from McKenna by Desharnais. Jacobellis finds Vesey, but the play is offside. 8:24 to go, second period. The shots in this period, and again, the Flames have had a couple of power plays. 12 for Calgary, just 5 for Edmonton.
You think of, and I forget the year, Jack, I think it might have been 2013. The Oiler rookies didn't have a lot of skill, but they had a lot of toughness. They brought in Ty Bilkey that year out of the OHL, and again, that was in Penticton, and there had to have been 10 fights over the course of the 3 games.
But the Oilers really changed their approach after that tournament, which did not go well in the win-loss column.
Right.
At least win-loss column on the scoreboard, not necessarily in the fight card. Safin, a shot that's kicked away by Zagabulin. And up the right-hand side, it's reversed by Lavoie. Stripped by Nielsen. Artem Zagadulin, the goaltender for the Calgary Flames. Stuart Skinner in the pipes now for Edmonton after Dylan Wells played the first half of the game. Samorukov to center. Marody gains the zone, finds Bouchard. A drive, and that blocked a stick of Dylan Dubé. Knocked it down, and the Flames able to usher it out of the zone. Matthew Phillips, wrist shot. Blocker save made by Skinner. Rebound picked up Bouchard. Marody. Bouchard through the neutral zone. Wrist shot just missed. Rebound played. Mauricio Ortiz over to Phillips. He big runs him off the puck. Phillips given another opportunity, and he's able to flip it back to center. Oilers back in their own end. It's Cap looking right-hand side. Unable to get it out of the zone, and now Dubé around Stukel. Behind the net, still waiting. Ultimately dishes. Mauricio Ortiz centers off the stick of Sterrett. Stukel banked it off the wall to McLeod. He'll take it down the middle. He's got speed, but cut off, and well done by Robert Hamilton. He's actually had some pretty good moments in this game for Calgary.
He's played a fair amount minor pro, too. Older defenseman.
Boots it around the boards. Originally from Calgary. And Bob's point, well marked by the fact that not only did he play 4 years for the Vermont Catamounts at the NCAA Division I level, but he played in the AJ before that. Benson walks in, takes a shot. That was blocked and sent out by Schoenemann. Now you've got Desharnais in a fierce battle. Unable to force it back into the Calgary zone, and Nielsen a dump in. Desharnais hit hard in the far corner, but DeYoung, his D partner, there to clear with ease to Benson. Now it's Keeler. Bumped off the puck initially.
There's your protection skills there.
Benson against two Flames, finally relieved of the puck and then turned over. The pressure, Benson, Keeler, shot blocked. Rebound, Bouchard, and his shot blocked as well. Mercier Ortiz in the lane that time. Nielsen with 5:10 on the clock. Tried the stretch play, and Bouchard was there and intercepted with ease. Samorukov off to Safin. And the Oilers on a regroup here. Less than 5 to go in the period. Samorukov missed Lavoie. Icing will be negated by Safin, who gets to the puck first, right corner, but as he tried to slide it in front, broken up. And cleared down the wing for Morelli. Angled off by Bouchard. To his credit, stays with it and eventually forces down low. Samorukov up high on the glass. This will be icing against the Oilers. 4.5 to go, second period as the whistle goes. Coming up between frames, we talked about Bob talking with Assistant General Manager for the Calgary Flames, Brad Pascal. We'll also have an opportunity to look at the drill presented by Ford, this time focusing on day 2 of the NHL draft, where the Oilers selected Lavoie playing in this game tonight for the Edmonton Rookies. No score. Jacobellis off the draw, Bouchard to the aforementioned Lavoie, who skips one out to center. Carried back in by Dubé, looking to break this scoreless stalemate. Bouchard all over. Dubé trying to shake his way free. Nowhere to really move the puck. Hamilton in close quarters couldn't contain. And Lavoie with some nice work to force it back to the Calgary end. Toss back in. Centering pass broken up by Jacobellis. And right to Maximov. Darting down the middle of the ice, Nolan Vesey. Maximov the trailer. Vesey didn't give it to him. Kept it on his backhand and ultimately will be stripped of the puck. Cap will pick it right back up and then turn it over to Matthew Phillips. Walks in, cuts to his right, and just slugged it behind the net for Pelletier. Interior pass, Ruzicka. Marody gave him a little bump. Worked back behind the net, and ultimately Cap is there one more time for Edmonton and Vesey, who probably should have moved that puck to Maximov on the previous rush.
Question.
Edmonton looking to reload, but pressure from Tololo will keep the Oilers trapped in their own end. Ruzicka in on the forecheck. This is where, for the most part, I think Calgary has had the edge on Edmonton tonight, and that's on the forecheck. Maximov in from the left-hand side. He was stripped. Schoenemann with a nice defensive play. Stutter step. Pelletier shot off the right pad of Skinner. A save through a screen. Desharnais got bumped, popped right back up. Staples his man against the wall with 2:40 to go on the game clock, second period. No score. Nielsen for Calgary. Looking backdoor, but that play broken up. Ruzicka nowhere to move it. Nielsen tries again. This time Zavgarodny. Dishing inside. Fumbled away awkwardly by Pospisil, who then finished his hit on Marody, and he got jackknifed over the boards, and now coming over to protect his teammate is Desharnais, and we've got another fight. Desharnais and Pospisil. Desharnais took exception to Marody getting laid out. Pospisil, who can handle himself, thunders back, and the two have to be separated by the linesman. But Marody really got jackknifed over the boards, and he's in a bit of pain.
Let's not forget he had a concussion last year, and his injury really hurt Bakersfield in the second-round playoff series against San Diego.
And he's shaken up. He's going to remain on the bench.
That's two centers.
He really got drilled.
Pospisil, I'll tell you who he reminds me of. Jarkko Ruutu.
Chris Davies taking a close look at Cooper Marody and making sure he's able to go back in the game. I think there might be a bit of whiplash involved on that hit.
Well, he's been running around all game, right from the first shift of the game.
It wasn't just Marody's midsection that got jackknifed over the boards. His head's kind of snapped back just from the force of going over the boards and then popping right back up. So he might be dealing with a bit of whiplash there. And Desharnais, give him credit for jumping in for his teammate there. Penalties will be coming here at 17:48 of the second period. At this point in the hockey game, Calgary 0 for 3 on the power play. Edmonton has not had a second period power play opportunity.
I think they're about to get one here, Jack.
Marody's going underneath. And Chris Davey probably wants to check on him and make sure he's got the right answers to the right questions.
This is a lengthy conversation.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a face-off back in the Calgary zone on a play that happened in neutral ice. I think the other rookies are going to get a power play here.
And of course, Cale McLean, who like Jay Woodcroft is in his second year at the helm of the American Hockey Club in this case, is going to want an explanation because he's thinking this should be an even up with Desharnais triggering the fight.
Now Jay Woodcroft. Well, I could be wrong here.
Cale McLean, like Woodcroft, a lengthy minor league career. Cale finished up his playing career with the South Carolina Stingrays in Charleston. That's where, among others, James Reimer got his start in professional hockey. And let's see what they elect to do here. Thus far, no, it's going to be an even up.
Even up,
It's an even up.
All right.
Remember, Marody made the pass, and so by the time the penalty was called, it might have been in the zone.
Was there an instigator for Desharnais as well?
That's what I'm thinking is the even up situation. So McLeod will dig in for an offensive zone draw here, but no power play comes out of that fracas. And here's Tyler Benson off the draw. More rough stuff in the corner. Nielsen engaged with Hebig, who came thundering back into the play.
Pospisil did get a charging minor in the fighting major.
So not a instigator, but rather a charge. And in from the right-hand side. Shot taken by McKenna Watt. Rebound Morelli. And McLeod able to cut off the pass that was intended down low. Morelli got it back from McLeod. 90 seconds to go in the second period. We're still scoreless here. Oilers Flames, first of 2 rookie games. We'll have the second for you Tuesday night from the Saddle Dome. That'll be on Oilers TV, as well as our flagship home of the Oilers Radio Network, 6:30 CHED. 7 o'clock start to that one in Calgary. Logan Day with control of the puck for Edmonton. Advance through the neutral zone, and Hamilton lumbers back to get it.
Down 2 centers right now for the Oilers rookies.
Minute to go now. In from the right-hand side is Matthew Phillips. Blistered one off the glove of Stuart Skinner. Bouchard on the rebound over to Samorukov. He'll fling it down the middle of the ice. 2 bounces are handled by Hamilton of Calgary and cleared back to the red. Bouchard able to backhand it in. Hamilton whips it ahead. Sent in deep by Gaudin. Final 40 seconds here. Skinner up the left-hand side. Samorukov. Trouble engaging with Lavoie. This time he'll try the right side and find Safin. Middle of the ice, Bouchard. And he'll lead the Edmonton rush. Drop pass, Yakabellis fires, and a save made by goaltender Zagadulin.
Again, Evan Bouchard up in the rush there and dropped it off. And the other rookies haven't had a lot of opportunities here. Final 10 minutes of this, the second period.
Well, Bouchard, 92 points in 71 games in his draft year. 74 points in 56 games last year. And that was, of course, taking into account his time in the NHL and at the World Juniors. Off the draw, twisted up the wall, past Logan Day. Stukel, though, back defensively. but then he gave it away. Centering pass, and that was redirected just wide. A setup from Pelletier.
He's been
a block shot. Now a chance. Once again, missing is Talola as it was deflected. The Oilers blocked a couple of late second period shots that time to keep this game scoreless, Bob. And through 40 minutes, we have nary a goal. Goaltender's duel. Calgary 2 second period power plays that time early in the frame, but unable to capitalize. And a developing storyline, as you've talked about, Bob, is down the middle. The Oilers have absorbed a couple of meaningful body blows in this game.
Well, no question. I mean, Bo Starrett perhaps a little bit surprised in that fight with the Calgary defender there on Abuche.
Well, he was. Bottom line is he wasn't ready, and I'm not sure you can lay that at the feet of Starrett. I mean, he got his gloves off quickly.
If that was, there would be officials that may have called that a 5 and a 2, and then they hit on Marody. I think for Oilers fans, no disrespect to Starrett, who's on an AHL, ECHL deal, but we want to see what Cooper Marody can do here.
Well, he's competing for an NHL roster
and
spot.
so that is, that is a disappointing sequence, especially. And you know what, Jack? Ironically, when I think back to the hit that he suffered playing in the American Hockey League last year, it's quite similar. He's right at the bench. He got to run hard, and that altered the course and direction of Jay Woodcroft's team. I mean, the guy had the highest point per game average of any rookie that played over 40 games last year in the American Hockey League. So, a couple tilts, got a little bit physical. Edmonton's gone with more of a skilled lineup. And some of their defenders that they brought in sort of on, to round out this rookie team aren't super physical guys out of junior. And Calgary has a bit of that. So that Pospisil as well. I mean, he's a guy that runs around, and he's been active. Be very intriguing to see what happens here in the third period, especially if Edmonton's down to just the two centers. I mean, I think Tyler Benson he played center in junior at times. He might have to slide into the middle as well, maybe even Benson.
You're going to be joined by Brad Pascal in a couple of minutes, and obviously had a chance to talk with him earlier this week on your show, Oilers Now, which runs weekdays noon to 2 on 630 CHED, the flagship home of the Oilers Radio Network. What are some topics you're going to address?
Well, I think one of the things we're going to talk about just with Calgary, they haven't had a lot of draft picks, so they're going to have to hit with some late round picks. Has there been an emphasis in the organization to add a little bit of, they traded for Milan Lucic, and the Oilers got James Neal back. And
coming off the first round elimination at the hands of Colorado.
Where some people think that the Avalanche leaned on them. I don't think the Avalanche are. Zadorov's a physical guy. Johnson can get you, but I don't think Colorado's a super tough team. So certainly tonight, Calgary's been the more aggressive of the two teams in terms of physical.
Well, the biggest reason Calgary lost that first round series is their best player was Mike Smith, and ultimately that's going to get you only so far.
Well,
your offensive stalwarts didn't bring it.
Right, and Sean Monahan and Johnny Gaudreau would like to have been better.
They were quiet.
And maybe they've got a little bit different dimension, having a guy like Lucic, albeit a guy that's going to play in their bottom six, changing the dynamic of their team.
Well, we've talked earlier during the course of our broadcast about the 3 Oilers second-round picks that are competing in tonight's Oiler Flames Rookies games. And one of those rookies, Raphael Lavoie, is going to be showing up in our upcoming feature here as we once again look at day 2 this time of the NHL Draft presented by Ford. It's the drill.
This game, as opposed to 10 years ago, players are closer and closer all the time in ability. Of course, you got your, real high-end guys that stick out, but all these kids are good players, and it gets harder and harder to pick one over another one, as you get later on.
What you're trying to do is get players that can play, and if you can hit a home run on a second rounder, third rounder, fifth rounder, sixth rounder, seventh rounder, it really doesn't matter. You're trying to get players that can play, and it's harder. The stats will show those players hardly play, but there are players that play, and that's how you build your farm system.
Day 2 of the 2019 NHL Draft in Vancouver brings another sunny day and another promising day as rounds 2 through 7 prospects awaiting their dreams fulfilled.
Edmonton Oilers select from Halifax, Raphael Lavoie.
Oh, it's me. I thought someone was there.
Everyone's talking about David and Draisaitl. What do you know about the rest of the roster? And there's a little bit of change going on with management and coaching. So.
That's a pretty good question. I know Wayne Gretzky played there.
To Oiler fans and hockey fans that may not be familiar with your game, what your playing style is?
Power forward. I bring a lot of pucks to net and score goals sometimes.
I don't think for a second anybody in the Oilers organization believed that Raphael Lavoie would be there at 38. A strong argument can be made in the eyes of many. They basically got 2 number 1 picks in this year's draft.
Congrats, Michael.
Thanks.
Hello.
Go ahead.
What's up, guys? How you doing? What do you want me to sign? Right here? Congrats, big boy.
You too.
Good job, man. Nice.
Lavoie is a 6'4", 200-pounder, so he's got strength, he's got size, he's got skill, he can skate. This year, he played his best hockey when it mattered most.
Edmonton.
We were surprised how big he was, but I mean, he had 10 shutouts in the KHL, and those are outstanding numbers, so we were happy to get him.
Ну, не ожидал, что так высоко, но ждал. Ну да, безусловно, хороший год получился, но не собираюсь останавливаться. Есть более высокие вершины, к которым надо стремиться, и надеюсь, буду только прогрессировать.
Like Ilya Konovalov is a guy where, you know, they won back-to-back championships. He was Rookie of the Year in the KHL. Very calm, polished, explosive down low, controlled, plays on his angles, real good on breakaways, hands are in the right position. Just a guy, I think, with a big upside.
His numbers were off the charts, and we met with him the other day, and nice kid, but well put together. You know, he's got 2 years left of his contract over there, so he's a good goalie. We got lots of good prospects, and you never know how things turn out, you know, a year or two down the road, so you really can never have enough, but we're happy with what we have.
Welcome back, everybody. We're in Red Deer. This is EdmontonOilers.com. Bob Stauffer with you, and we're in the second intermission, and we're pleased to be joined in a scoreless tie, albeit a game in which we've had a little bit of animosity, typical of the Battle of Alberta, with Calgary Flames Assistant General Manager Brad Pascal. Brad, thank you for taking time to join us here. You know what? There has been some discussion, you know, and I've always felt that the Flames organization's, hey, physicality is part of the game. Pretty big trade made in the off, biggest trade ever between the two organizations. Milan Lucic for James Neal, and the Flames have shown some physicality here tonight. But let's start with that big deal first of all, just from the Flames' perspective, what the hope was to get by bringing Milan in for James Neal.
Well, first off, James Neal is a tremendous person, and we wish him all the best. And you know, to be a multiple 20-goal scorer, you're getting something in return there. And you know, we talked about it a lot. We signed James for a reason when we signed him last summer. But one thing that I guess we thought we were missing globally with our organization, but especially you know, we felt we have a good team. We still have a good team. Is just a little bit of presence, and you know, we feel Milan brings that. And it's a little bit of a different element that we didn't have. We feel that we have some good skill, some good speed, and we feel Milan could bring a different element. And we felt that was something that our team needed.
You got a little bit of that going tonight as well. I mean, it haven't been any goals. There's been lots of chances. I think the Oilers' goaltending's been pretty good in this game so far. You know, you basically got an entire AHL caliber line out there, and for that matter, so does Edmonton. But what's interesting, you got some smaller guys. So you haven't shied away from those guys either, like Matthew Phillips, 5'6" kid, Luke Phillip out of the University of Alberta, 5'10" player, and maybe the guy that I think excites your organization the most, with all due respect to your players, Dylan Dubé. So just a thought on Dubé in particular, and what the hopes are, you know, and the probability that he cracks a top 9 spot with your team this year.
Yeah, sure. Well, first off, Dylan played 25 games in the NHL last year, and then he did play some time in the American League, where he was one of the all-time record holders now for his age and points per game for the games he played in the American League. So he's obviously got skill and speed, and something that we value, and he's played well here tonight. So you know, I think he brings good leadership to that line. That's a line that played in the American League for parts of last year as well, with Glenn Godden and Matt Phillips. And you know, quite honestly, I think Matt Phillips, he's could be the best player on both teams here so far through 2 periods. He's just brings that tenacious puck pursuit and great skill and awareness on what's happening on the ice.
You got to find players anywhere, and I want to just you know, you guys won the you know, there, a lot of times, like Spencer Fu had 6 or 7 teams. The Oilers were in there, Detroit was in there, Philadelphia at the end. But in terms of guys out of youth sports, it's atypical. There haven't been a lot of guys get NHL contracts. You did your homework on that one. Just the thought of giving a player like that an opportunity, especially a player that a lot of people have already seen through Major Junior. You wrapped up here with Red Deer in the Memorial Cup after playing for Kootenay.
Well, first off, you're always, not only the Calgary Flames, every team in the NHL, you're always trying to find that other player. You go through the entry draft, you obviously have players that you like and develop, but you're looking for those players that you can get in the free agent market, whether they're playing in Europe, whether they're playing in the NCAA, or in this case, whether they're playing in the CIS or U Sport. And, over the last couple of years, we've traded a lot of draft picks. There's no question the principle, the guiding principle of most teams is draft and develop. And when you trade a lot of picks, you're looking to replenish the cupboards, and so you're looking for players in other areas. And that's where Philip came in and had a tremendous year. We watched him closely, and hopefully he fits that mold of some added depth for the organization.
Now, I think, if I got my numbers right, you're at about 41 contracts. You've got 2 defensemen dressed tonight that are on NHL deals, so they're going to be part of your organization. You've got 4 or 5 guys going in on PTOs. There are opportunities in Calgary, despite the fact that you've transitioned, guys like Shillington and Anderson up into the NHL. You're not going to have Alamaki, obviously, for a while, but there's still some chances for some guys here, aren't there?
No question, there is for sure, and you mentioned those guys transitioning up to the NHL and graduating the way of Shillington and Anderson and others, and Dylan Dubé for 25 games. So we lost a little bit of our depth that we felt that we had last year, and that's where the opportunity is for guys to grab a spot. We have a couple of RFAs that are unsigned, and when they might get signed, hopefully sooner than later. But there's some spots to be had, and that's why we brought some extra PTOs in, and obviously it's ultimately up to them.
Where are you at right now in terms of how comfortable are you guys with some of the young goaltenders? The Russian kid, he's older. He's 24. I mean, he's at his height, he has to be athletic. He's not a blocker. He's got great athleticism. You got a couple other guys that, have had stellar junior careers as well.
No question. First off, in goal, Zagadulin, his numbers in the KHL the last 3 years have been excellent. He's been more of in a backup role. But when he's played tremendously well, and a player that that we coveted, at least taking a swing at. And Tyler Parsons has had a great junior career, won the World Juniors with the USA, and had a little bit of up and down learning experience the last couple of years of pro. But we're hoping for big things from him as well. So,
Brad, a question: just second straight year, a couple games between Edmonton and Calgary. We're in Penticton for all those years, starting in 2010. Ken Holland. Traverse City was a big fan of that model. Could we perhaps see at some point a return where there's more than just the Oilers and the Flames rookies playing against each other? Maybe including Vancouver, Winnipeg, maybe even San Jose, Anaheim, Vegas. Who knows? Could you envision maybe that happening?
Oh, for sure. We really enjoyed our time in Penticton. All the groups did, and the last couple of years we said, hey, let's take a 2-year break and just play each other here. And you're right, Kenny and Brad Shalevin. Don Maloney and myself and Craig, and we're talking to the Oilers group and to the Western teams about, hey, what are the pros and cons about doing something like that again, whether it's Penticton, whether it's somewhere in BC or somewhere in Alberta, and maybe a little bit of a traveling road show. So that's something we'll look at. The benefit by having a number of other teams there is you can see other teams' prospects all together.
Right.
And I think there is a benefit for that. You have a lot of teams have their scouts, and I know the Oilers have probably 12 scouts. We have 12 scouts here on the amateur side. We have our pro guys coming in next week, so it gives you that extra opportunity to see other prospects.
Brad, we appreciate your time.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're scoreless after 2. Let's get to our second period highlights here from Red Deer.
Well, partner, you work all summer on coming up with these levitating goal calls, and through 40 minutes, you and I are just sitting here twiddling our thumbs. No score in the first of 2 Oiler Flame rookie games.
Goalies have been fantastic.
I was going to say, Wells and Skinner, and you know what? I mean, I didn't know much about the Zagadulin, but he's played lights out.
He was really good early when the Oilers, I mean, in fairness, I think Calgary's been the better team here over about the last 30 minutes of this game. But there's no question that the goalies have been the star of the show tonight.
Well, and for me, for the most part, the reason the Flames have had the slight edge in the general flow of play is I think they've done a little bit better job on the forecheck. They've been a little tougher on pucks, little grittier, a little more determined. Cooper Marody, and this is really going to be good news for Oiler fans that are projecting Marody as an opening night roster player. He is back on the ice and apparently not too worse for the wear. So is Bo Starrett. He is back, and again,
that's a little bit surprising to me.
Yeah, he absorbed, quite frankly, I would have to call that a bit of a sucker punch from Montano Onyebichi in the second period. I don't know how you would see that. You've had a couple of different angles.
I think if you're an Edmonton guy and your guy wins a fight, you say, you know, the Calgary guy would have to be ready.
Well, was that winning the fight? I mean, to me, that's not really a fight.
Well, that's old school. That's how, you know, we don't see a lot where, like, a lot of guys, you know, square up. That wasn't a true square up. If that's your point.
Not close.
Not close.
To a true square up, in my opinion. And when you say old school, Bob, I don't remember a lot of those plays. Not at the NHL level, anyways.
The saying was, you got to get the first punch in. Well, unfortunately for Starrett, the Flames player got the first punch in, and I don't think he was expecting it.
Shots in that second period. Again, the Flames had the only 2 power plays of the period. Calgary ended up with 15 as compared to just 7 for the Oilers. So
Jack,
2 period totals of 22 for Calgary, 20 for Edmonton. No score, 20 minutes to go in this one.
We know one thing, Bo Starrett can take a punch because he is back in this game. And
that was my point. Is Starrett's back, and so is Cooper Marody. So the Oilers have their horses down the middle as we get set for the start of the third period here at the Centrium in Red Deer. Good turnout for this one, of course. This facility, longtime home, I believe, since 1991 to the Red Deer Rebels of the Western Hockey League. And we're just about set to go here as Marody will take the opening draw of this third period. Hebig and Benson are his line mates, and the 2 defense that have played the most together tonight, Samorukov and Bouchard, will start the third period. Stuart Skinner, who replaced Dylan Wells at the midway point of the second period, and he's come on and stopped the 4 shots he's seen, remains entrenched in the pipes. Calgary took a different tack in net tonight. Artem Zagadulin will go the distance. He's in the pipes for Calgary, and we're underway with third period action live from Red Deer. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you. Again, a rematch. These 2 rookie squads Tuesday in Calgary. Flubbing a wrist shot, Hebig, but he might have been held just as he was ready to let that go. So that's going to be a penalty against Calgary. And 15 seconds into this final period, Gaudin goes to the box, and Edmonton will get its second power play of the night, trying to break this logjam at 0-0.
Well, it's a good inside move by Hebig, who can shoot the puck. Had a 40-goal season a year after basically not playing. And he hopped inside, and Gaudin had no choice but to reel him in. So power play opportunity for Edmonton.
Played for Regina in the Memorial Cup that year that Bob's referring to, 2018, and including playoffs, finished his campaign with 47 goals. So he can fill it up when he gets hot. And he was hot early last year at the American Hockey League level. And here's Hebig entering the zone, finding Tyler Benson, now Bouchard. Benson, cross ice, and that through the wickets of Marody. That was a tough pass to handle. Calgary, though, cannot get it out. Marody with some good board work to keep it alive for first Hebig, and then Benson. Another chance. Hamilton, Benson, knocked it out of midair. Left it for Marody. Scoots down the wall. Stukel setting a screen for Benson up top. Now Stukel. Marody. In front was Hebig. Bouchard out at the point with the puck. Tried to center that one off a Calgary skate. Marody. Minute 5 of the power play. Benson tied up Bouchard with a tough pass. Now Benson got it back. Slapper and a save made by Zagadulin. Benson from Marody. One-timer Bouchard, and that hurt the man who blocked that shot, and that was Robert Hamilton. That stung him. Flames get a clear, though, and Skinner will have to leave it for Raphael Lavoie. 40 seconds left on the power play, minute 30 gone by in this third period. Still no score in the first of two Oiler-Flame rookie games. Calgary swept the rookie games last year, and then Edmonton swept the preseason. Long stretch pass for Matthew Phillips. It's off the mark, but now we're down to 20 seconds on the power play. Ostap Safin rifled one. That was picked off by Phillips back into the zone. Safin got back defensively, harassed Phillips to the point he gave up the puck, and Safin, even better from an Edmonton perspective, did not take a penalty. Advanced through to Lavoie. He'll hit the Calgary line and cough it up. Chance for a clear. Nielsen did not get it done. Edmonton back to full strength. Ryan McLeod flipped it over to the wing. No one home. Gaudin fresh out of the box. Centering pass tipped just wide. And Skinner stretched out and collided with Dylan Dubé, barreling down the wing. And I thought for a moment that Skinner might have exposed the inside of that right knee. And anyone who's ever banged knees knows how much that can immediately freeze you up, but I think Skinner got enough of the pad to protect himself on that collision with Dubé. He's fine, and the Oilers are fine, having failed to convert the power play, but now with an opportunity to get back at it even strength. Jacobellis off the draw, ahead to Nolan Vesey. He'll drive to the net, and a backhander flicked aside by Zagadulin. Jacobellis this time misfires on a pass intended for Cap. Skinner out to handle. Serves it up, Samorukov. Gave it away and got it right back from Mazichka. Cross ice Cap, and he'll bang it in off the backhand side. Back is Onyebuchi. Couldn't make a play on the wall. Beaten there cleanly by Liam Keeler. And the Oilers go to work. Bouchard will pinch left corner. Protect the puck against Pelletier. Shrug off a check and now gain space and set up backdoor play, but a wild shot taken by DeYoung. Bouchard is able to hold the zone. Came inside, Maximov a backhander. Guided to the corner by Zagadulin. And held in by Bo Starrett on the rebound. Behind the net, wraparound effort, off the pads, Zagadulin. And a clear for Calgary's Pelletier to center, he'll dump it in.
Bouchard's had a stellar performance, just a terrific sequence in the Calgary D zone.
16 and a quarter to play, third period. And there's still no score in the hockey game. Bo Starrett is able to bang it in for Edmonton. Hamilton back to collect for Calgary. A little more Oiler presence in the building tonight than the Flames. Here's Hebig, starting at center. Benson throws it toward the net, dropped by Zagadulin, but his team bailed him out. Zavgarodny brings it safely up to the red and wrists it down deep.
He's been good for Calgary in these games, Jack.
Absolutely, scored a couple goals last year. Logan Day jitterbugs his way around Morelli. That's a shot fly that's deflected into the corner. Safin first on it for Edmonton. I think Safin's been noticeable tonight. Here's Benson. Thanks to Safin's board work. Out to the point for Logan Day. Spins it down low for Marody. And I think Jay Woodcroft is rewarding that work by putting him up on a line with Marody and Benson, at least for this shift. A clear by Pelletier. Back to center. Now they'll change it up. Bouchard.
Look at that.
We'll leave it for Samorukov with that reverse pivot. And now Jacobellis charges in left wing. Chips it behind the net. Calgary's Schoeneman able to cut that one off, however. He's been solid tonight for the Flames on the back end. Onyebuchi skitters his way. Tried to go inside on Samorukov, who was having none of it. Jacobellis at center. Flips it toward the Calgary goal. Reversed up the boards and eventually left for Gaudin. Dubé, centering pass. picked off by Cap. He'll clear for Edmonton today. Involved was Gaudin. Stukel took it away and then turned it over at the Calgary blue line, allowing Dubé to tuck it back into Edmonton territory. 6 minutes gone by here in the third period. Oilers have come out and aided by a third period power play. Already 5 shots on net, none for Calgary. And now a whistle, and the officials will bring the face-off back into the Edmonton zone. Icing.
Desharnais now available. He, of course, got an instigator in that fight. Misconduct. Coming to the defense of Cooper Marody.
Off the draw, into the glove of Stuart Skinner on a wrist shot. Taken from the half wall by Luke Philp. Check it, that was Peltier. And now Skinner awaits a face-off to his right. I think that was on net, so Calgary is still looking for its first shot on goal this third period. Teams embroiled in a scoreless stalemate right now. Bo Sterrett wins the faceoff. Desharnais for the Oilers. Chipped ahead for Vesey, and Sterrett will send it in.
It's an interesting combination of players on the ice for Edmonton.
Yellowson tries to break free. Vesey knocked it down, but out of play. And face-off will remain in the Calgary zone, as they said it was a double deflection, and it went off to Lola last. So that'll mean Edmonton gets an attacking zone draw. And now Jay Woodcroft, keeping the blender going, goes back to Jacobellis, Lavoie, and Safford. That's the unit he started the game with on the third line. Desharnais does a nice job of holding the zone. DeYoung is his D partner as Calgary resets and tries to clear. Turned it over. Lavoie fanned on a one-timer from scoring distance, and now a hand pass will be whistled against DeYoung. You can do that in the defensive zone, but not in the offensive zone.
Lavoie would have liked that. Another look at that opportunity that he got.
Absolutely. Raphael Lavoie, 3 years, a Halifax Moosehead, taken with a 38th pick this summer by the Edmonton Oilers. Ryan McLeod, clean face-off win. DeYoung to Desharnais. Behind the net, falling down was Nielsen, but getting bailed out with some good work down low by Roman. Nielsen did not nudge it out. Quick one-timer set up and a save made by Zagadulin on Bo Sterrett. Ryan McLeod again was the trigger man on that play that led to the scoring chance. As Edmonton piling up the scoring chances, but nothing on the board. Bouchard a half stride late in his attempt to keep it in the zone. 12:43, third period, and no score in the hockey game. Again, the Oilers, all 6 of the shots on goal credited in this third period.
Kirill Maximov out there, and he was engaged in some stick fighting again. And he does get some penalties, Jack. He's a player that's racked up some totals here over the last couple of seasons. Aggressive player at times.
5th round pick, 2017, 74 goals in addition to showing up on the PIM log for Niagara the last 2 years. Oilers back into the zone. Flames looking to extract, and they do with help from Hamilton. Dubé over the line. Gaudin centers into heavy traffic, and it glanced off the back of Dubé's skate right to Marody. Hard toss off the glass, too much on it. Icing. 12:13 to go in the third period. Cooper Marody, again, his story, originally a 6th round pick of the Philadelphia Flyers back in 2015. Went to Michigan and then was signed by the Oilers late in the 17-18 campaign. Turned around and blossomed into an American Hockey League All-Star last year with 64 points in 58 games.
Quite the introduction to the NHL. We'll discuss that in a second, his first game.
Off the face-off, Onyebuchi. His shot was blocked. Samorukov thought he was tripped. Dubé hands it off. Onyebuchi able to duck under an elbow from Samorukov, and don't think that was an elbow by accident. Here's Bouchard. streaking down the middle of the ice. Makes a move hard to the net. And he just had it slide off his stick, but he had Mauricio Ortiz beat. Dubé breaks out of the pack. One-on-one, and Logan Day just buried him in the corner. Stukel, an errant pass, turned it over. Ruzicka has a back door, but couldn't thread it through to Dubé. And Logan Day again with a fine defensive play. Back-to-back plays by Logan Day. Now Stukel. Tracking to Lola. Peltier from the corner. Crosses Yellison. A blast that's blocked. Keeler knocked it down. Yellison has it right back. 11 minutes to play in the game, still scoreless. Ruzicka, stick save made. And that's the first one by Skinner in this period. It's Calgary needing 9 minutes to get a shot on net. Nolan Vesey streaking in. Tracked down a loose puck. Tried to throw it out to Logan Day, but he was bottled up in the corner. So he gets some help from Liam Keeler, and the Oilers back to work along the end boards. Jacobellis couldn't get on it, and it's carried out safely by Yellison. He'll lift it just underneath the scoreboard here at the Centrium, and Cap gathers it for Edmonton. Off to Desharnais. Sliding to his left, Jacobellis over to Lavoie. Banked it off the wall, and that'll force Zagadulin to play it for Calgary. Zavgarani overran it, and the Oilers have new life in the offensive zone. Lavoie centering pass off the pads of Zagadulin and back into the corner. Lavoie to Cap. Jacobellis. Oilers continue the cycle. Flames able to break it up. And Zavgarani back to center. Jacobellis for the Oilers. At the end of his shift, he got barreled over by Pospisil, who's certainly been noticeable tonight in a flame sweater. Lead pass, chance, Morelli fired wide. Rebound to Bo Sterrett. He got hit along the boards right in front of his own bench by Nielsen. Lost his stick as he collects. It's on Yabuchi. Now a centering pass, Roman. That had no chance. Maximoff able to break it up. Lift it back to center. Punch back in by Calgary. 9:20 on the clock. We've played 50-plus minutes of scoreless hockey here tonight in the first rookie game between the Flames and the Oilers. Big hit, Logan Day. Far side, Matthew Phillips. Stripped. Sterrett behind the net. Rolled it around the boards. On Yabuchi. And eventually cleared by Day. Calgary will switch it up on the back end. Hamilton through to Dubé. Wrist shot, and that ticked off the blocker of Skinner before sailing out of play. 8:49 to go in the third period. Got a break in the action. Want to keep our viewers tonight on Oilers TV advised that you can check into EdmontonOilers.com for expanded post-game coverage. Bob and I will wrap it up and talk about the rematch waiting for us on Tuesday night from the Saddle Dome when these two squads collide at 7 o'clock. Bob, I mean, at this point, we've played more than 50 minutes of scoreless hockey. It seems and feels like a next goal win scenario. Yeah. But what doesn't seem right is Edmonton and Calgary making such a significant trade over the course of the offseason. That would not have probably happened 30 years ago, but how do you analyze the deal that brought James Neal to Edmonton?
Salary cap era changes everything, as we know, Jack, and I think in the case of Milan Lucic, it was a year and a half where it wasn't working. He goes to Calgary, doesn't have the same amount of pressure on him to create offensively or be a part of their top six or play in their bottom six. That team, I think they felt as an organization they needed some size. And let's face it, Lucic is a dynamic in his game, though less prevalent than ever before. He's one of only 4 or 5 guys in the league that can really hurt you and scare you. So,
but what about James Neal? 10, 20 goal years in a row.
And we both know this deal doesn't happen if Connor McDavid. I mean, Connor McDavid spent a lot of time with James Neal over the last few seasons, training in the offseason. James Neal, Luch is going to play in the bottom 6 in Calgary. James Neal's playing in the top 6 in Edmonton. So there is
power play time.
There is a significant opportunity. You know, Alex Chiasson might not get 22 goals, but I'm going to bet that it would not surprise me if James Neal ended up somewhere between 23 to 27 goals this year.
Well, Chiasson might not get 22, but I agree with you. I don't see James Neal getting 6 again. Off the draw. Flames look to maintain, but Marody took it away and forced it back into the Calgary zone. 8.5 to go, third period. Long pass up the boards. Dubé will reel it in. Samorukov draped all over. And then Bouchard with a steal and a pass intended for Phillips. Tyler Benson will find the puck. Put enough on it to get it to Hebert. Gains the line, but got sandwiched. Flames players might have collided with one another, though. That was Yellowson and Gaudin, and they got more of each other than they did Hebert.
He's bowling for dollars out there, Jack.
Up the left side, guided in safely by Tolola. 6th round pick of the Flames a couple years back. Played for Finland in the 18 World Juniors.
Man, is Bouchard poised at this level? It's like Chris Pronger.
Lead pass left-hand side, Lebois. No pressure, eh, partner? Back behind the net. I know.
You know what I'm saying. He's
just
playing the game in a rocking chair.
I did think it was interesting, though, that Keith said he'd seen that before. He's noticed the quickness tonight. Zavgorandi will send it in deep. Cap and Day. And that's a function of us not seeing Bouchard on an everyday basis after the first month of last year. Here's Lebois. Right wing lead pass, Logan Day. Behind the net, tried to center. That was deflected a couple times. Shot Cap, but he missed the net. Rebound Day. A clear, a lunging play by Stukel to knock it down, and he got drilled by Peltier, protected himself, and clipped Peltier up underneath the chin. Clear by Onyebuchi. Desharnais stripped and shoveled in by Keeler. Behind the net, Oilers looking to do some work against Mauricio Ortiz. Keeler in close quarters. Perhaps too close for VC's liking. Watches as Calgary's Onyebuchi will skate it up to the red. Luke Philp tried to give it back to him, and that caromed off a skate right back to Nolan Vesey. McLeod, and now DeYoung darting to his right. Trailer is Keeler. DeYoung eventually forced it back to McLeod. Desharnais open, takes the shot off the pads.
McLeod again, Jack.
Of Zagabulin. Well, he's created a ton of opportunities tonight. That's 4 one-timers he's set up by his lonesome, by my count tonight. McLeod off the boards to Maximoff, and now Sterrett will nudge it across the Calgary line. 6 minutes to go, third period, no score. And yet, Keith Gretzky wants McLeod to keep looking for that shot.
Yep.
I mean, he knows he can fill it up as well as distribute. There's a trip by Maximoff at center that'll be called. A no-doubter on Yellowson. The Flames nearly passed the puck back into their own net. That didn't miss by much. Hamilton will track it down. With 5.5 to go in the third period, the Flames will get their 4th power play of the night at the next whistle, which occurs right now as Samorukov touches up. And now in a period where the Oilers have outshot the Flames by a healthy margin of 9-2, Edmonton will be down a man.
That's the book on Kirill Maximov, though, Jack. Sticking fractions. Talked about it earlier in the period.
He's got a little bit of Pouliot to his game. He's not a bad defensive player, but when he doesn't move his feet, he reaches, and it makes the officials. We used to talk about it with Pouliot.
He's also got a heavy stick.
It makes it too easy.
He's got a heavy stick. Strong.
Yeah.
And so he got a lot of penalties in the OHL, and those weren't fighting majors. That discipline issue is something that he'll have to work on in the American Hockey League this year.
Draw one by Sterrett. Oilers a hard rim that caromed off Nielsen and into the Edmonton bench. So the faceoff will come outside the offensive zone. So 5.5 to go. Scoreless up until this point, and the Flames trying to get on the board and maybe win this one in regulation. Goalies have been perfect. Zagadulin at one end, stopping all 29 shots that he's faced. And now Skinner 6 of 6 after Wells went 18 for 18. Flames working their way into the offensive zone. Shot Hamilton. And Skinner was in the right spot. Didn't see it, but he was well positioned, made the save, and the puck rolled down the ice. Calgary regrouping. 90 seconds on the power play. Passed up and forced in by Pospisil. Worked around the boards, got it. Loading up, crossing, open man, wrist shot blocked Oilers have done a nice job getting in lanes tonight. Dubé, interior pass, a tough one from Pospisil. Eventually gathered by Gaudin, but poked away by Hebig. Well positioned with Iacobellis. They'll come off along with Bouchard. Cap, Day, Sterrett, and Keeler out there. Dubé smacked one out of midair, but it sailed outside the zone, and Calgary will change it up and also regroup back in its own end here with 4:15 on the game clock. Philp breaks free down the right-hand side. Wristed around the boards. Oilers able to usher it right out as it hopped over the stick of Nielsen at the left point. Up the middle to Lola. He'll give it up. Ruzicka to the net. Off the side of the cage. Gets his own rebound. Slapped away by Desharnais. Nielsen over to Philp. Found the puck in his skates. Tucked it down low to Lola. Ruzicka. Cap and Benson eyeing him. Nielsen at the point. 10 on the power play. Shot doesn't get through. Cap knocked it down. Flames running out of time. Zavgorodny coughed up in the corner. Cap working over his man. Zavgorodny is pinned right there. Desharnais trying to sell a trip on the far side was Talola. Nothing doing. And the Oilers come the other way. Benson is Maximoff. Fresh out of the box, able to hang on side. And now, do we have Talola with a locked up left knee?
Yeah, it looks like
I think we do.
Yeah, left knee injury. That's unfortunate.
I thought at first it was just a skate blade, but that left knee is locked right up on him.
And he's been involved. They've had some physical players tonight.
3:16 to go in the third period. No score in the game.
So who have you liked for the two teams? Like, obviously Matthew Phillips, Dylan Dubé. Those guys have been noticeable. It's hard not to notice Dubé. I mean, he's just
and some of the veteran guys you talked about on the back end, guys like Hamilton and Schuenman, you know, guys with a little bit of experience. Schuenman, not a ton at the pro level, but 4 years in college.
Yeah, Nielsen's a legitimate AHL moving defenseman. He's played a lot of minutes.
So they've got some experience on the back end. For the Oilers, I'm at the risk of sounding like a broken record. You know I'm going to mention McLeod, in addition to the obvious Evan Bouchard.
Yeah. Haven't minded Pelche either. He's got some skill, makes quick decisions with the puck.
The biggest thing for me that'll help Ryan McLeod gain traction with the new management is he's made a couple of fine defensive plays and shown a little, you know, more readiness to play that cliched term 200-foot game. Jeremy McKenna spills it into the offensive zone for Calgary. Quickly played out by Stuart Skinner. And then there's the goaltending. I mean, all three goalies we've seen tonight. I mean, look, when it's a clean sheet and you've played 57.5 minutes.
29 saves.
Goaltending's been a big part of it.
He's very athletic. They might have something with him.
Zagadulin, just 24 years of age. It's not like he's some KHL veteran. But he had a good year last year. Dylan Wells didn't hurt himself with tonight's play. I think Skinner's made a couple of solid saves through screens where his positioning has paid off for him. Here's Cameron Hebig battling for the puck and winning it from Matthew Phillips. 2 minutes to play as Hebig into the attack zone. Lets a shot fly. That deflected. Trickled into the far corner. Bouchard's going to pinch. Free it up for Marody. That pass just off the mark, intended for Benson. And now it's Phillips. Left side, Dubé. Cuts to his right, back to his left, and elbowed aside by Samorukov. That was well played.
Yeah.
Tyler Benson the other way for Edmonton. No score, 100 seconds remaining in the hockey game. Trying to center was Maximoff. Clipped the side of the net. A clear for Philp. A couple of Oilers fell down. Philp unable to cash in. Didn't really get around Logan Day. Flames briefly held it in. Pospisil couldn't maintain. Bo Sterrett now. Back defensively and playing it well was Hamilton. Cap funnels it over to Logan Day. Pospisil will send it back into the Edmonton end where McLeod will leave it for Ethan Cap. Banked off the wall. Maximoff smartly gets it in deep. 1 minute to play in regulation. Still no score. Spun around the boards and Cap fails to hold the zone.
Got to seal a wall there.
Biding his time. Looking up ice. Misfired on a pass intended for Samorukov, but deflected by Lavoie, so no icing. Rolling puck collected by Nielsen of Calgary. Hammered up the wall, this will be icing. Whistle sounds with 36 seconds on the game clock. Third period. Oilers have outshot the Flames tonight 29-25, including 9-3 in this third period. But as Bob has alluded to, Zagadulin signed an ELC back in late March, has held sway for Calgary. Marody able to win the faceoff, but Hebig out-muscled for the puck by Nielsen. Bouchard, Marody breaks over the line. Wrist shot blocked. Also had a lot of block shots tonight. Here's Hebig with a steal. And that blockered aside by Zagadulin. Final 15 seconds of regulation here. Samorukov forced it down low. Benson shrugs off one check. Time winding down, 5 seconds. Bouchard, time to get off a shot if he lets it fly now. He does. Ruzicka swallows it up, and that's it. We've played a scoreless 60 in the opener of 2 rookie games that'll be played between Edmonton and Calgary. The rematch coming on Tuesday night.
Good period for Edmonton. You know what? The teams that started with the power play. Calgary had 2 quick power plays, Jack, in the second period. And they tilted the ice in that period. It really started the final 10 minutes of the first, and the Oilers got the early power play.
10-3 in the third period.
Right, for Edmonton for shots. So now we get some fun. A little bit more opportunity for some of the skill guys. And there has, despite the fact that we're scoreless, there's been some A-grade scoring chances in this hockey game.
Well, and again, I mean, Zagadulin, Sharp, Skinner hasn't seen a ton of pucks come his way. 7 saves in 30 minutes, but Wells obviously was perfect, stopping all 18 that came his way. And now, let's see what Jay Woodcroft elects to do here in overtime. And he's mining the depths of the roster, or he might be seeing what Cale McLean is going to do. Because right now, Woodcroft is going Keeler, Vesey, and Cap, but that may change.
Well, let's not forget he had his top line on the ice to conclude the third period.
Well, and he's rolled them over tonight.
Sure.
Again, Jay Woodcroft and Cale McLean and their roles in this particular sequence of games in particular, basically getting all the young players an opportunity to play in different situations. So 3-on-3 OT here in our rookie opener, and Calgary will go with its best, Gaudin, Hamilton, and Dubé.
And here we go.
And so here we go with Woodcroft's counter, which of course means Benson, Marody, and Bouchard, which is like Bob and I suspected.
Yeah.
And Jay loves that kind of cat and mouse. He's a tactician.
I don't think there's any real surprise there for either team.
No. So Skinner at one end, Zagadulin at the other, both wearing the number 50 tonight in the pipes and looking to keep their team perfect for another 5 minutes as we play 3-on-3.
Now you got to get puck possession off the draw.
Marody's going to take it. Thought McLeod had a good night in terms of the face-offs.
He's had a good night, period.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm a bit effusive in my praise of Ryan McLeod.
That's all right.
Marody able to win the draw. Benson saucers it across to Bouchard, and right on cue partner, Edmonton gets the draw to start off OT. Marody flips it ahead, out of the reach of Tyler Benson. Hamilton for Dubé, and now it's Calgary's turn.
And this is the guy that can get you for Calgary.
Dylan Dubé breaks in, high slot, had a hat trick in the preseason last year against Edmonton. Moves it along Hamilton. Now Dubé, shadowed by Bouchard. Trying to sneak backdoor was Gaudin. Marody having none of it. Read it all the way, but Gaudin able to protect the puck, and then he gives it away. And Gaudin's got to change, so an opportunity for Edmonton. 3-on-2, Marody dishes off. Bouchard shoots, and a save made. Zagadulin. Marody was tripped, no penalty called. Bouchard briefly open, but now it's going to be stolen, and Dubé with a trailer. It's Matthew Phillips. Dubé centers, Phillips shoots, scores! And Calgary takes a 1-0 verdict in overtime, 64 seconds in. Save at one end, goal at the other, and it's Matthew Phillips, who had 13 last year at the American Hockey League level, who finally breaks the scoreless log. 1-0 Flames, that's your final, as Calgary's 26th shot of the game finally finds the mark.
Yeah, Cooper Marody went over to the officials and thought he got tripped in the ozone.
He did.
They didn't call it. Flames got a break with two excellent young prospects and two guys that scored in the Western Hockey League and can make plays. Phillips finishing her off. Calgary gets the win. It's about as even of a game as you'll see this time of year. And you know what? 3-on-3's electrifying. It's exciting. The Oilers had a chance coming off the wall on a slow developing 3-on-2, and then at the end of the shift, Flames convert. I think Skinner basically did everything he could to try to stop the puck.
Well, he got a piece of it.
But the two best guys for Calgary up front combined for the game winner. And you know, Jack, you made an interesting point about Ryan McLeod, because I would have liked to have seen on this sort of ice surface, you know, having a 3-on-3 out there.
And how he could fly.
How he could fly, because he made a play in the first period. We're going to see some highlights coming up later on in the game. I mean, or now that the game's over, the post game, but I mean, he made some special plays out there. So there's a lot of guys that acquitted themselves well for both teams. You know, the Flames have got some exciting, skilled guys. They've transitioned a bunch of their defense, so a little. I think the biggest thing for me for Calgary was a goal. Zagadulin, to me, I was like, well, that's an impressive first appearance in North America. Obviously, you expect. I thought Luke Philp had some good moments. Matthew Phillips, obviously getting the game winner. Dylan Dubé, totally expected to see what we saw out of him. Pelche had some strong plays for Calgary, and then for the Oilers, Bouchard on defense was by far, I think, their best defenseman, and I thought Ryan McLeod actually outplayed either, Marody or Benson or Hebig, those guys playing on what's the top line for the Oilers rookies.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and take charge here and kind of announce our 3 stars, because I think you're going to be with me.
Sure.
I think based on the fact that he goes the distance and pitches a 31-save shutout, you've got to give it to Artem Zagadulin in terms of the first star of tonight's game.
Absolutely.
Second star, I thought the best player in the game tonight was Evan Bouchard. Are you in agreement there?
Yep.
And then the third star, again, if Edmonton had won the game in overtime, I might have leaned toward Ryan McLeod, but I think considering that you score the game winner in OT,
Matt Phillips.
Are you okay with those 3 stars?
Sure.
Or
Calgary wins the game. They should have 2 of the 3 stars.
And Evan Bouchard, I thought, was the best player on the ice.
Their goaltender, again, stellar performance from really athletic, not a blocker, not a guy that has to rely on him in size. Excellent quickness, and I wouldn't say he got into the head of the other rookie shooters, but he certainly showed, at least again at this level against this caliber, because as he continues to move on through, goes into main camp, he's obviously going to get some. We're going to probably see him again in the preseason, I would think, with Zagadulin. They need, and they're an interesting. Don't forget Tyler Parsons.
Well, they're going to have an interesting situation, much like Edmonton's this season, where I think the number 1 netminder could be an evolving story as the season moves along.
And maybe,
because Cam Talbot is certainly going to challenge David Riddick, and I think, especially given the history between Mike Smith and Dave Tippett and Smith's propensity, usually at least once a year, he goes on a hot streak.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's going to be challenges in that position for Edmonton in terms of finding the right guy on a week-to-week basis, because both Koskinen and Smith have shown they can get hot.
Well, and maybe I'm going to be accused of being Pollyanna here or the eternal optimist, but I believe that the Calgary Flames, Milan Lucic, can help that team out. I certainly think James Neal can jumpstart things in Edmonton, and for the viewers that are maybe watching from Calgary, absolutely Cam Talbot can push Dave Riddick for some starts in between the pipes, and I fully expect Mike Smith's not coming in Edmonton to be a backup. I know he's
certainly not in his mind.
No,
I mean, he's 37, and Dave Tippett has called him one of the most athletic goalies he's ever run across.
It's going to be on for sure.
I'll tell you what else is on for sure, and what else we'd agree upon today. It's good to be back, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was
you
fun.
even brought a little hockey look today. You're all gashed up. You're ready for the season.
Well, I got a puck in the face. It happens.
That's good.
Unfortunately, I have so little to work with to begin with that it is noticeable. But,
I like to see you come through adversity, though. It's a good war wound.
You gotta gut things out, Jack. You gotta pay the price. You gotta show up every day.
Good to have you back,
Hey,
partner.
just going out there taking it one shift at a time, Jack.
All right, Matthew Phillips, the game winner. Scoring summary is an easy one tonight. Dylan Dubé with the assist on the game-winning goal, coming 64 seconds into overtime after a scoreless 61 minutes. Edmonton outshot Calgary 10-3 in the third, and each team had a good chance in overtime. Edmonton's was stopped, a certainly debatable non-call with Cooper Marody getting hauled down, and Calgary eventually scoring later in that sequence with Dubé's sublime feed to Matthew Phillips, who shot it through, basically, Stuart Skinner, who got a piece of that puck only to see it trickle into the net for a 1-0 Calgary final. And the Flames now have won the last 3 rookie games between these two clubs. They'll be looking to make it 4 in a row, and we have the rematch for you live Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. Again, you can see that streamed right here on Oilers TV, but Bob and I will have the live play-by-play as well on our flagship home of the Oilers radio network, 630 CHED. Once again, that's a rematch of an Oiler Flame rookie game. We'll have it for you Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, live from Calgary's Saddledome. Until then, for Bob Stauffer, Keith Gretzky, Brad Pascal, I'm Jack Michaels saying good night from Red Deer's Centrium, and a reminder to stay tuned for continuing post-game coverage right here on Oilers TV and EdmontonOilers.com. Ladies and gentlemen, it's good to be back. The pleasure was all mine. The final tonight, Calgary 1, Edmonton 0 in OT.
Bye.